The pod is podding right now.
I mean, goodness gracious.
The pod is podding right now.
The professionals.
Black History Month is blacking right now. So let's clap it up. Episode 77. My favorite number is 7. We got the double 7. Will we make it to episode 777? I don't know. So,
is that it?
huh? You know what I mean? Like, are we going to even, who knows what 5-side is, but episode 777. So shout out to episode 77. This is my favorite number. We're also in Black History Month. We're also in Aquarius season. My birthday's on the 7th, February 7th. It's very lit.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I joined by today, guys?
What's going on, everybody? Seb.
What's good, y'all? Gabriel?
Kendrick.
All right. Lot to get into today. Back to our longer episodes as well. So we're going to get into some of the current news. We have the UCL playoff happening for the first time after this league phase. Lots of drama in all the top 5 leagues as well. Big transfer news. We just finished the January transfer window. And then we're going to get into an assortment of Black History Month topics as well. But some big news we have is actually outside of footy in the NBA.
Yeah.
This was crazy, bro. I'm in the middle of a party. I'm doing film photography. My homeboys aggressively call me, who's a Lakers fan, telling me about the trade. Dudes are about to fall to the... He's like, yo, like people, like everybody stopped, bro, what they were doing when Luka was traded for Anthony Davis. Luka will now be playing with LeBron James at the Los Angeles Lakers. What this had me thinking is, in soccer, there's absolutely no trades.
Yep.
Players do not go places that they do not sign up for, and there's no way of trading a player and they don't even have an awareness that they've been moved until they see it on the internet.
Yeah.
Luka didn't really know about it. AD really didn't know about it. It affects your contracts too, because Luka will no longer be eligible for the super max, whatever they call it, which would have been $345 million. I'm sure you can still get like 270 or whatever it is. So yeah, it just got me thinking, like, there are no trades in soccer, and like, what would that look like?
So,
and there's no drafts too.
Yeah.
Youth Academy,
Well,
you want to go to the
MLS.
best team as well? MLS, okay, fair. America.
in Canada, I think.
Yeah.
And Mexico.
North America.
I don't know.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about
See?
that.
Look, here we go.
I said I don't know. I said I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, what is y'all thoughts?
Wait,
on if they're-
before we move on.
Yeah.
What? Okay, part of my ignorance.
Of course.
I didn't really understand the magnitude of this trade. So can you put it in like
Soccer.
football
That was gonna be my other question. Would
Yeah.
be a soccer
That's-
comparison.
like
definitely
what's the because like I was playing pro
this
clubs.
is
So actually, the Bundesliga asked us to like come up with this trade in soccer terms.
Okay.
in
Bundesliga.
Bundesliga
In
specific.
Bundesliga terms, yeah.
That's a bit harder.
I have one.
Footy overall, it's like PSG getting Mbappe, but then Neymar goes somewhere else, and Messi was already there. That type of vibe.
I don't think that's clear enough.
Yeah,
It's
I'd have
gotta
to
be- it's
read.
not the same league. So like, for example,
Yeah,
it's, so
yeah.
it's first of all, it's a,
Europe.
would you
though.
agree that it's a lopsided trade to assert for
Yeah, it's
with
lopsided.
the Lakers winning?
Yeah.
heavily?
Lakers definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And just
So-
for their future.
and-
everything.
with the Lakers with the Lakers winning heavily, and with the Mavericks doing something that most people would assume is a bit silly because they're trading away.
It's silly. It's so funny.
Like high
It is.
silly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jim, he stood on his 10 toes though.
And it makes the Lakers automatic contenders, yes?
Yeah, I think so.
And it takes the Mavericks away from being much more so contenders than they would have been.
Theoretically, based on health. I mean, it depends on health and stuff.
And
but
it is adding a piece.
it's a bad future move. It's
Yeah.
like you're putting everything into right now, and he's
And
injury prone and older.
it's-
Luka's 25, bro.
It's
Like, it's
adding
crazy.
a piece more so defensively that the Mavericks needed less than they needed offensively. And the Lakers are getting basically exactly what they would have wanted or needed. Yeah?
They need a center still, but yeah.
Okay.
But you have 2 all-time great players.
So in the Prem, for example, I feel like it'd be like Man City right now, who are kind of struggling,
getting Salah?
getting Salah. Trading Salah for like
Phil Foden? Not being older.
like an
player.
injured Rodri.
Like KDB. It'd
No.
be like a KDB.
Yeah, or like a KDB.
Because he's like an
Yeah.
older past
Yeah.
their prime
Yeah.
a little bit, but
Yeah.
has
It'd
had
be like
amazing
literally
days.
trading
injury
Kevin
problems.
De Bruyne to
Okay, so this is solid for
That's-
KDB.
That's exactly what it is.
This is solid for KDB.
Yeah.
Except one of these teams is obviously not in first place. Dallas.
Salah's a little older too, though.
Yeah, but he's like, okay.
Marmouche? No.
Nah.
No, Luka's too good though. Luka's
I think
actually
Salah for KDB is
yeah, because
great
Luka's unreal. The
comparison.
numbers are stupid. Like
The numbers
makes no sense.
But
It
the
makes
big,
no
but a
sense.
big part of it is the fact that Luka
Age,
still has
yeah.
a lot of future left. Salah's like on the tail end. I don't think
It's
that's
true.
a good
this
comparison.
is Jhon Duran going to Al Nassr to join Ronaldo.
Get the fuck out of here.
That's actually a little bit better.
Nah,
Duran, bro, get the fuck out of here.
It's
No, I'm
more
just saying
like-
that Ronaldo being LeBron, both being because LeBron's about to retire. That's why it's also like you're next. Like he's out of here.
Maybe it's
This
like
is saying you got the keys to the house.
I feel like it's
That's
like
why the PSG was a way too. It's like an old Messi with like an Mbappe or with a Neymar. It's out. So it's not. You just can't do the same as a trade. But the moment
no,
of
we're
news,
saying if there was trading,
even well, I'm saying even just the magnitude
So,
of news is like
if-
when Messi went to Paris.
if the Lakers are united, right? Could we start there maybe? With
not
the Lakers
bad.
being Man United. Then the Mavericks are maybe like an Arsenal.
You're talking about historically or right now?
No, right now. Maybe they're like
This is-
Lakers aren't Man
This is
United.
awful. This is
Yeah, it's hard. You
This is
can't do
going.
it.
This is quickly going. South. This
why
is-
in the league?
I would honestly just
In
go
the-
back to the Salah
United is
KDB
in, like,
trade.
15th place,
Yeah.
bro. That's actually shit.
What are the Lakers in? They're
They're
not.
in,
in
no, they're in a playoff
They're like
spot. They just beat
sixth.
the Knicks last night.
Oh,
Like
okay.
sixth place.
No, they're having a good
I
season.
think Salah KDB was a great.
Salah KDB. If
I
you could flip,
understand
that was
it.
great.
Understand
if you could, or maybe we put Saka instead, just because he's younger. Obviously, but,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
maybe Saka.
Okay.
It's like a Saka KDB kind of trade, but even
Sure.
worse.
Or
Yeah,
like a Cole Palmer.
actually,
Sure. Yes,
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 actually,
yes,
yes.
yes.
It's like a Saka or Cole Palmer.
For-
Except
for
Luka
De Bruyne.
plays well in big games.
Yeah,
Is the
yeah,
big
yeah.
difference.
Yeah,
So
get the fuck
I'm
out of
fucking
here.
that's just internet rhetoric. But what do you think about like just like it's just funny to me because we kind of bridge the culture between American
Yeah.
sport and then global with what soccer is like. People don't understand, bro. Like this is so like Mats Hummels, speaking of Bundesliga, was
Yeah.
like, I'm glad they don't trade players in soccer. You
Yeah.
actually sometimes find out with the internet, and in NBA, you have a game like in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
Now you're moving your entire family.
Yeah, it's
And
crazy.
there was no agreement on anything.
Yeah.
Sometimes like, hey, we're gonna really help you find a new place. Tell me what team you're interested in. We're gonna try to get value back. But a lot of the time, done.
Nah,
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's actually insane, bro.
Yeah.
And there's like
Like imagine when Messi went to Paris, he actually got traded there. He didn't know. It's nuts.
It's crazy.
nuts,
It's
bro.
crazy because of the magnitude of the like celebrities.
Yeah.
Like not even just the players, but like them being celebrities. Like to think that Luka Doncic
Didn't
could
control
just be
that.
like shipped off without any
insane.
control. It's like, damn, you were really like nothing, bro.
Bro, Salah getting it's
They
crazy.
actually don't care.
low
about you.
key,
Imagine Saka gets traded to fuck like what?
low key. I bet in the grand scheme of things, like European athletes kind of bid on American athletes for that reason. Because at the end of the
Kinda
day,
what?
like they'll make fun of American athletes
Oh,
for that.
definitely.
reason. I bet like in European athletes group chats and in the way that they speak about American athletes,
LOL.
they'll be like, "Lol, like you can get shipped off whenever, right?
Yeah.
Like like they can literally move you to
Yeah.
Toronto if they wanted to,
Yeah.
and you
Wild.
can't say anything. And you,
I
would
mean,
never
it's
know.
it's
It's in
very
your contract, yeah.
yeah,
it's very American, bro. To
It
be
is,
like
yeah.
I'm your owner,
yeah.
and like you're gonna do whatever I want to do.
And actually,
Like,
let's talk
peak-
about that.
peak capitalism.
Let's talk about that. You know who gets the trophy first in American sports? The owner.
That's fact.
It is one of the weirdest things ever. And my
That's
dad, being from Spain, pointed it out. I was like, why is the owner lifting
That's
the
actually
trophy,
true,
bro?
They
In
don't call him
soccer,
owner
it
anymore
is
in
the
NBA, right?
captain. They call him owner.
I think they changed it.
Nah,
They call him owner. Now the whole
Definitely
Sterling
changed it.
thing, and now they have the HBO show about it. You heard about that?
what?
So
Yeah, yes.
Donald Sterling was the former owner of the LA Clippers before
Oh,
the
yeah,
Microsoft guy took
Yeah,
over,
yeah.
and he just had a crazy racist rant to like his mistress assistant, some crazy thing like that, and they got him out of here. But yeah, the owner lifts the trophy first, and then the players.
Yeah,
Imagine seeing that with Real Madrid in the Champions League. And even though we love Florentino, everything he does as president, like, no, it is the captain armband lifted. The players who earned the trophy
Yeah.
are the ones celebrating it. And American sports, the
moment we
owner,
talk
bro.
about it,
They get on stage and talk before. Bro, they talk before the finals MVP
Yeah.
says, like, nah, what an incredible season was. Want to thank the owner actually talks first, bro.
Yeah.
What?
This is in 2019,
It's so American.
In 2019, Adam Silver, NBA commissioner, said we're trying to move away from the term owner, and now officially all NBA team head of teams are called governors.
Oh my whoa!
Which is, I
and
don't
I
know
can
if-
still trade
I don't
you
know
to
if-
Toronto, nigga. So, whatever.
I don't know if you being the governor is any
the
better.
all-white governors, and then Michael Jordan. Shout out Michael Jordan. He owns, or he
Governor
governs.
Jordan.
Governor Jordan governs the Charlotte Hornets.
Charlotte Hornets.
That's America for you.
Look, at the end of the day, yeah, it's just weird. I mean, at the
Yeah.
end of the day, like the owner is the person who put up that revenue, who is able to like
Yeah.
Yeah, they
make,
put up
make the
governor.
team. The governor was the person that made the team
Possible,
possible
yeah.
in the first place.
Yeah.
So I understand the theory of like, okay, like I built this from the ground up or from wherever it was,
Right.
but it is just the racial dynamics just make it inevitably
Nuts.
weird. Like
In the Bundesliga, they asked us because they were like, you know, a former Bundesliga player, Mats Hummels, tweeted saying,
Yeah.
thank God that we don't get traded like they do in American sports. And so the Bundesliga was asking us, based on this insane trade in the NBA, what is that Bundesliga comparison? For me, I've been thinking about it. I think it would be like, and this isn't necessarily about how good the teams are, but about the level of the players specifically.
Yeah.
But I think it would be like Bayern Munich sending like Thomas Müller to Leverkusen and Leverkusen sending Florian Wirtz to Bayern Munich.
That's a good one.
Because for me, it's a player that has so much potential, so much upside, and is clearly like the heartbeat of the team, going to a team and making them even stronger contenders.
Yeah.
And the other team sending a player that is good, is solid, is an all-around player, and has had an incredible career.
Yeah.
But doesn't have anywhere near the same amount of upside.
Yeah. That's not bad at all. That's a pretty good shout. It's hard to make exact comparisons too. Because obviously Florian is 21? Luka's 25, so he's done like 6 crazy seasons. So it's like even longer down his career. Florian being traded, it's like, bro, you've seen what he's done.
Exactly. Yeah.
So no, that's pretty good shout though, for sure.
That's for me.
Yeah. Interesting
We
stuff.
can move on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it is Sunday, and Arsenal just peppered Man City 5-1. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. It was 5? It was 5?
It was 5-1, bro.
I turned it off. It was 3, bro.
Yeah.
5-1.
Lewis Kelly, the young academy
There's an
boy.
insane
Bro, I
flick.
turned
Bro,
That flick is
he did the
insane.
celly on them, bro.
I turned it
He
off
did
to
the
turn on
celly.
the Milan
Good.
Derby.
That was... I turned that off when I was leaving the bagel shop in the 92nd minute. Oh, Milan got it. That's a huge
Mud,
win.
bro.
Fucking hell.
Mud.
My team too. Bro, it was a tough weekend for us.
Yeah.
But yo, City they got peppered, bro.
Yeah.
Battered.
The DJ was playing Humble by Kendrick Lamar after the game too, because ever since Haaland said you need to stay humble is when their season went
that's funny.
tanked.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, shout out Arsenal. That's a big result, but I guess
That's a huge
Man City
result.
conceding 5 is not that rare anymore.
Yeah.
Conceded 5 to
Yeah.
Tottenham, conceded 4 to Paris, led in 3 in 10 minutes to Feyenoord and Sporting Lisbon, I think. Or no, they lost. They
Defense is
conceded 4 to
Careful.
Lisbon.
They play all next
No,
week,
I was gonna say though.
Be
No,
careful.
I'm aware. No, I'm aware.
Nah, they're going to get peppered, bro.
Careful before I flip this cliff. Careful.
I didn't say anything.
Wait, when do they played it? It's not this week, right?
It is.
It's this
I
week?
think it's like
Too many games.
it's like the
Too many games, bro.
they're like fitting in an extra round of Champions League soccer.
Yeah,
So I think
it's
this week.
ridiculous.
Careful, man.
Coming off a peppering from Arsenal, I think they're cooked.
Yeah.
Their defense is actually awful.
It's-
bro.
yeah, the
they
defense is the
they
problem.
cannot play out from the
Yeah.
back.
The thing is now if they had peppered Arsenal and we have Rudiger is going to miss the first leg. That's
Yeah.
huge.
Mhm.
Then it's like, oh shit. And I was actually like, damn, City. We always get City, bro. I'm so tired of it.
It's 4
But-
years in a row. 4 years in a row.
4th year in a row and like 6 in the last 10 years. It's ridiculous.
That's a lot.
Yeah. They're saying UEFA's just milking that fixture. Like, we need more content. Like, make them play each other.
Yeah.
But that's big for Arsenal.
I mean,
They're
I
keeping
think
up a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
they're keeping
It's
up
over,
a
though.
little
It's
bit, but I think they're cooked.
I think they're cooked.
Liverpool got it, bro.
over. Yeah.
Liverpool won.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of Liverpool, Mohamed Salah has now passed Thierry Henry on the all-time Premier League leading goal scorer charts.
Disgusting.
He now has 176, one behind your legend Frank Lampard.
Disgusting.
So he currently
Greatest
sits
black player ever in the Premier.
7th. Thierry Henry, yes.
Mohamed Salah.
Good clip.
Mohamed
Good
Salah.
clip.
Mohamed
Thierry
Salah.
Henry, yes. Is Mohamed Salah black? Nah, we don't gotta do that.
Yeesh.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
And that is a great joke.
That's
That
crazy.
is-
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy.
That was such a controversial.
Congrats to Salah though.
Yeah, he's unreal, bro.
It's kind of there's not really much to say. He's just cooking. He's been cooking all season.
Ballon d'Or favorite for sure.
Yeah.
Ballon d'Or favorite for sure. People say he's not like fun or exciting to watch, which I don't fully
That's
understand.
insane.
Liverpool
Yeah.
fans are fun, bro.
I don't fully understand.
I want to
that.
say, I met a Liverpool fan this morning.
Yeah.
He said something ridiculous to me.
What do you say?
He said, I'm so happy with this season, but I just wish that Klopp was still with us. Because I feel like a stepson who has to be happy that his stepdad has come in. And I wish my dad was here. And I'm quoting him damn near directly.
He needs therapy for sure.
No, and
And his,
I mean, I-
that is what he said.
therapist.
And he was like aware that he came off weird, but like that is still exactly
I
what he
mean,
said.
Klopp meant,
your friend has daddy issues is what he has.
nah, Klopp
So-
meant a lot. Klopp meant a lot to Liverpool.
I ain't
fans,
saying that
bro.
about Carlo, bro. My stepfather is Xabi Alonso. What are we doing, bro?
No, he didn't say it's the same thing. He just said it. He's just saying
He
it
said that's
feels
how it
like
feels.
Yeah.
his successor. Like he's happy for him, but he wish it was still Klopp. I get that.
Yeah.
That's
He
how I
said
feel.
Klopp was there for 10 years.
That's how I
Yeah.
feel losing Tuchel, bro. And Tuchel was even there for that long. But I was like, bro, he was
Chelsea, that's like 2 years. Like, oh my God.
You grew an affinity to Tuchel?
Yeah, bro. Bro. Our managers be out in like 8 months, bro.
That's facts.
And he won us a Champions
Revolving
League.
door.
Anyways,
Yeah, I mean, we've talked before on this pod about who are the greatest African players of all time.
Yeah.
Who are the greatest players of certain leagues of all time, certain
Yeah.
positions. Salah's case is getting really good on a lot of lists.
Yeah.
Stats, trophies, longevity, play style, changing his game as he ages. He's doing a lot.
Yep.
And so we're going to start having some conversations if he keeps us up a couple more seasons.
I feel like the only reason we don't is because he doesn't have that super like celebrity image. Like he doesn't have that like rock star.
Yeah.
Like pay attention to me.
It's true.
Doing the like insane celebrate. Like obviously he has his iconic,
Yeah.
celebrations, but like his celebration be like him praying.
Yeah.
Like he's not like, oh,
Or
like fuck
meditating.
off everybody. Like
Yeah.
it's very like
He's
chill.
steady.
tamed.
It's mellow.
It's tamed.
Yeah.
And his consistency is steady. It's
Yeah.
very steady. So it feels.
So people aren't like
Yeah.
as riled up.
However,
about him.
I think if he wins a Ballon d'Or, that'll shoot.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
And
And, he
You
has
think
a
they'll
good
give it
chance.
to him though?
If he wins AFCON, I think he has a really, really good chance of winning it.
They don't give a fuck about
And his
that.
celebrity,
They do. They
definitely do.
FIFA cares so much about international tournaments.
That's all they. Bro, Messi
Dude.
won the fucking.
Osimhen got
that one.
second or third, I think, the year where Napoli won and he got
Yeah.
to the final with Nigeria.
It's the trophies matter. The trophies matter a lot. But yeah, I mean,
BBD.
I think you have to start thinking like, does you go in the all-time Premier League 11? You have your one player each position. It's pretty damn close if he's not already.
right wing. Who would it be right now? Like,
And where would you put Ronaldo? Because he was technically a right winger, right, at that time.
you
Like
could put
CR
Ronaldo
young
on the left
CR7.
still.
Put him on the left. Thierry up top.
Thierry up top.
Salah on the right. No Hazard.
No,
Still think Hazard is a better footballer
yes,
than Salah.
for sure. He's a better footballer. He's not a better
But
Premier League legend.
I'm
though.
taking
I agree.
Hazard.
Those are different categories.
I agree. Yeah.
I'm taking Hazard.
He could do things no one else could do.
But in the Prem, Hazard isn't a legend. Like in the same way.
In the same way. In the same way.
Let me land.
In the
Whoa.
same way, man.
Niggas jumping.
Nah, land it.
Niggas
Land it.
Niggas
Land it.
jumping.
Please, please
In
land
the
it.
same way that Salah is because he spent much more time
Yeah.
in the league. That's all.
Sure.
And just the consistency level, the stats, the trope. Yeah. That's fair.
Damn.
Shout out Salah though. And to your celebrity point, that might be like globally, I guess, but like in Egypt,
Oh yeah.
Kareem was telling us, like,
Yeah,
bro,
yeah,
that
yeah.
dude is.
Yeah.
They call him the Pharaoh for a reason.
Yeah. No, I don't mean in
Yeah.
terms of like fandom, but just in terms of like the way he carries himself.
Yeah.
Like he's not popping out to fashion week.
Yeah,
like,
facts.
Integrating himself in like
Culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair. 100%.
Yeah.
Oh man, the Prem. Speaking of the Prem, we also have a big move. Who was your young breakout player of the year last year?
Mhm.
Jhon Duran
Yep.
has made the move
My boy.
from Aston Villa to Al Nassr.
Let's
And
go.
will be joining Cristiano Ronaldo. You know what I'm saying? The same way Luka's joining LeBron James. He's taking a big bag to go there. But he's always been a lifelong Al Nassr fan. So I think that this is a really beautiful moment for
Sorry?
Jhon Duran.
One more time.
You didn't hear about that?
I heard about it.
Yeah.
What?
He posted a photo. Wait, you explain it.
He posted a photo, or no, they interviewed
Yeah,
him
they
about his
interviewed
move
him.
or whatever, and
Uh-huh.
he was like, "I've been a fan of Al Nassr since like I was a child.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to start playing for them."
There's no way this is true.
It's
Yeah.
literally not possible.
Yeah.
There was no, like-
There's no way, bro.
There was no way they were
Especially in
broadcasting.
Colombia, bro.
They were not broadcasting
so
Saudi Pro
funny.
League games in Colombia.
I mean, he's
in-
not that old. So, like, maybe he's.
in the early 2000s. They was playing Saudi
Bro.
Pro League.
No.
games.
So, Ronaldo went to Al Nassr, what, 3 years ago?
Bro, stop.
No, after the World Cup.
Stop it, bro.
So less than 3.
Stop
It was
it.
the beginning of
21.
Yeah.
Stop.
I mean, is he a child at 19?
no,
Bro, he's already playing in MLS.
He
and
said it
shit.
like he
Yeah.
was a young boy.
Like,
like-
he was a
Yeah.
baby?
yeah, bro.
That's so funny.
He's wild.
19 is not your childhood. Yeah.
That was a LeBron James moment.
Yeah.
Like,
Why is he lying like that?
I
I don't know.
But yeah, thoughts on the move. I mean, I think this is the first
So
young
stupid.
star we've seen go to Saudi.
Or at least that
Like,
of this like
from the
level.
Prem.
Like,
that,
like
yeah.
young, like ascending,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
big city teams need a striker. Could he go there, sort
Yeah.
of thing?
Yeah.
I feel
He
like
goes to Saudi.
I like it.
I think he's gonna get the bag and come right back.
Same.
I think he's gonna do about.
interesting.
That's what
Oh,
Saint
there's
Max.
no.
That's what Saint Maximin did.
Yeah, for sure. I don't.
Fascinating.
Not yet. Do I see a young player ascending like that? Really, like I'm gonna build my career in Saudi.
Yeah.
I see get a
Especially culturally
crazy
as a Colombian.
culturally too. That's a big fact. 2-year bag
Not sure.
and then come back. And I think with the World Cup coming up too, He's going to have to make sure that he's on his P's and Q's, like really balls out there. So I think he's going to do really well because he's not playing with that World Cup spot with Colombia, especially with how good that team is overall. I think he's going to really perform, even though he's going to be getting the crazy bag. I don't see him like being a flop out there. I think he'll get some numbers.
I think the World Cup is part of the reason why he made that move because he wasn't really getting consistent time at Villa. Like that's
a fact. He needed to leave regardless.
Yeah, like he had a lot of like star moments.
Yeah.
He had some crazy goals. He had a big like quick start to the season, but he just wasn't like he wasn't the man on the team, and he wasn't like getting consistent minutes in the way that he probably wanted to.
Yeah.
So to be able to go to Saudi and hopefully start and collect more goals, collect more highlights to send to
more money
to the boss back in Colombia, I think it'll just build his resume a little bit.
And I mean, people want to hate, but at 21, going to be Ronaldo's understudy is that's great for you.
Terrific.
That's to get the bag and to go learn from Ronaldo for a couple years.
Yeah. Hop on his YouTube real quick.
Like
facts,
you know,
build your fandom.
More. Exactly.
Yeah. Very exciting to see. And now apparently Villa is going to be getting Asensio, Rashford, and João Felix. So let's see how that goes. Nice. Loading up. I mean, it was a good decision for Villa financially too. Cash in while you can. You can't have both those strikers be happy at the same time. So
it's true.
I have another story about a player joining the Saudi League that was less spoken about.
Go ahead.
Said Benrahma, who was at West Ham for a while.
Yeah, I remember.
And he was at Lyon. He has moved to Neom SC for 15 million.
Okay.
Neom SC is in the 2nd division in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Now, have you guys ever heard of the Saudi Arabian project called The Line?
Yeah.
No.
That is their soccer team.
What is The Line?
The Line is that city that Saudi Arabia is building that is going to be a line that cuts directly across the country of Saudi Arabia. It's going to be built almost, I think it's like 100 meters wide, but like whatever meters long.
It's supposed to be
like made out of glass, and it's like supposed to be a sustainable city. And each section of the line is like its own walkable area, and it has different layers and stuff. It's very futuristic, somewhat dystopian.
If you've seen it, you'd be like, "What the fuck?"
You haven't heard of this thing?
No, it's amazing.
They're building a city across the desert.
I'm into architecture and futuristic stuff. So this is sounding crazy.
Anyway, Said Benrahma has joined their football club.
Literally a city.
It's just a line. Yeah.
No, I know. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask my dad about this. Nuts.
They own that team?
It's Neom. Neom is the name of the city. That's the name of the city in Arabic. And that's the team.
That's kind of
And they're in the 2nd division.
Well, it's a new team.
And then they're gonna launch up on
You know they're building World Cup stadiums in
the line.
Inside of the line.
Yes. And that's where he plays.
Yeah.
It's 100 meters wide or miles?
I don't know how many. I don't know exactly.
100 meters. It's a soccer field.
It's like stories high. Like
yeah, for sure.
No, I don't know. I was saying wide. I don't know how wide it is, but it's not like incredibly wide at all.
It's probably like a few miles.
It's a couple. Yeah.
Yeah. A couple blocks, whatever, or even less. That's insane.
I can look it up.
No.
How long?
Bro,
is the line? No,
I believe the project 100%. That's crazy.
How wide is? Imagine I made that up. I wasn't even that far off.
Meanwhile, it's directly from a Black Mirror episode or some shit.
I heard about this a couple years ago.
No, of course. I believe it, bro.
It's 200 meters wide.
Wow. Wait, 200?
How deep is it?
And 170 kilometers long. Into the desert.
It's 2 soccer fields wide and 170.
That's
What?
Yeah.
How do you have a city that's 2 soccer fields wide? This is insane. Wow. I mean, we're gonna see. It's gonna happen.
How tall is it? Is a great question. 500 meters tall.
Jesus Christ. Wow. Technology, bro.
No cars, no roads, 100% renewable energy. 95% of the land will be preserved for nature.
All right.
Said Benrahma, please let us know how it's going.
Yeah, right? That is so crazy.
Yeah.
So like,
that is
it's interesting because people are literally so far away from each other, but they'd all support this club that plays in their line. It's so dystopian.
How do you get there?
There's high-speed trains that...
Underneath the line? Dog.
To go from one end to the other is 15 minutes by train.
What's fucking me up is the verticality of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally
I wonder where
line.
the stadium is. I just have questions. I have
so
How do you...
questions.
A stadium is more than 200 meters wide.
Not necessarily. There's different permutations for stadiums.
That's where the stadium's going to be.
That's crazy.
Let me see. Wow, that's cool.
Or no, I guess it could be 200 meters wide then longer, and then you have to stack the fans in a certain way. That is crazy.
The fans are underneath.
Yeah, right. Watching in the cosm. Jesus Christ, bro.
Dude, have you ever heard of the movie Snowpiercer?
Yes, I watched
That's
it.
what it
Yeah, the
feels
train.
Great,
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah. Damn.
Or the Silo. Y'all seen
Yeah,
Silo?
same thing.
I've seen
Phenomenal show.
Different, or the
You got to watch Silo. Silo is
thanks.
exceptional.
the Netflix movie with the food that drops
The platform. Yes, facts.
It's just all of these things
Snowpiercer platform in one. With the soccer stadium in the middle.
Snowpiercer is a good shout. Damn.
Yeah, that
That's fact.
and Silo. This is literally Silo.
What
Too.
was the did
Wow, that's crazy.
was it based off Train to Busan or something like that?
Oh, Last Train to the zombie shit.
Right?
The Last Train to
I think
Busan.
Snowpiercer is based off of an older
It's based off an old
Movie
book, a
called-
super old book.
The zombie one.
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Last
it's called
Train to Busan.
Last
Something like that.
Busan,
Really?
yeah.
I think it's
Anyways,
a Korean horror film.
We're
Yeah.
getting a little deep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, we went 2 hours today.
Yeah, I love it. This is great. It's
In
how we
a
get into
different
this.
bag right now.
Wow.
Anyway.
back to.
I don't have anything soccer related to say on that anymore.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it is interesting that guys are going to the second division of Saudi.
Yeah.
That are like prem level players.
Yeah.
So it's showing that eventually it's going to be fully normalized and slowly build into
Especially
It's
a lot-
keep getting
a
normalized.
lot of
now.
Arab players are going. Like Middle
I'm saying
Eastern
even
Arab
just like
players.
the less crazy transfer fees and just be like a
Yeah.
top 7.
15 mil.
Yeah, that
That
when
is
you
his-
said 15 mil, I was like, oh, that's like a normal.
That's his price.
Yeah.
He is a $50 million
Yeah.
player. He is. So it's like they didn't have to overpay for him. What?
Happy BHM.
Oh, okay. Governor.
Governor Seth. Yo, I ain't gonna lie though. I'll take 15 mil. Do whatever you want, nigga. I won't be in this podcast.
What's your price?
15 mil? Fuck it. Where am I going? Ship me off.
To the line.
Ship me off, governor.
Yo, that was insane.
15 mil.
He said that's his price. He is a 15 million.
auction shit up.
He's a $15 million human being. Holy shit.
That line about to turn to a fucking.
Wow.
Pray for the line, man.
I don't
Also,
think he would live there yet, by the way.
oh,
So
stapled and everything. Yo.
there was some breaking news from coming out of FIFA this past week.
Mhm.
Some kind of disheartening news. There's an organization called the African Regional Organization of the International Trade Union Confederation. And basically, they're like a union for African workers all throughout the continent. There's a bunch of countries who are members of the organization. And as you guys know, the World Cup is supposed to be in Saudi in 2034. Saudi has had a lot of issues or reported issues of just human rights violations throughout the country, especially in regards to migrant workers, similar to what we saw at Qatar a few years ago. And so this union organization basically made this long plead to FIFA to say, like, you need to hire an independent investigator or just like overwatch some sort of organization that can watch over what's happening as Saudi is constructing their stadiums. Again, because of the number of human rights violations that they have towards migrant workers.
Yep.
FIFA was basically like, we're not going to do that. They're like, we trust Saudi to, basically police themselves and come up with, different standards that they'll live up to. And so this organization basically came back with another report highlighting a number of instances, specific instances that they need to address before they let FIFA rock. And so I kind of want to just speak on some of the experiences of workers in Saudi Arabia, because this is specifically about workers from other countries in Africa who go to work in Saudi.
Yep.
And so there was one Ethiopian worker who mentioned, these are all quotes. He said, "I arrived in Saudi Arabia to work as a domestic helper. My passport was confiscated upon arrival, and I was forced to work long hours without pay for 6 months. Attempts to leave were met with threats of deportation." Another Kenyan worker said, "I worked 18-hour days and was locked in the house when my employer was away. I was physically assaulted for asking for wages, and my living quarters were a windowless basement room." One Nigerian worker said, "I was promised a job as a driver. I ended up working in physically demanding conditions without proper food or rest. My employer's threats kept me compliant." And basically, just to wrap this up, there was just a couple of, final actions that they're asking from FIFA. One, to demand comprehensive labor reforms in Saudi Arabia, including abolishing the kafala system, which is basically a system of labor where your employer has control over your immigration rights, your employment rights, and can basically confiscate your passport at any time. They asking that they enforce labor laws, ensuing fair wages and reasonable working hours and safe conditions, establishing an independent monitoring body to oversee workers' conditions in World Cup preparations, advocate for mechanisms in enabling workers to associate freely and report abuses without fear, and make human rights commitments a core requirement for hosting the World Cup. And so this is something that we've talked about a lot of times, just like the morality of a nation, especially as it comes to like World Cup. And so, yeah, it was just sad news because it was like all these years out, there are people that are working tirelessly to make sure that what we've seen in the past doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
And FIFA's just like, nah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like, how do we as fans, how do we as consumers kind of just like still enjoy these tournaments and these events?
Yeah.
Knowing like how this body is moving.
Yeah. That's why some people were so disappointed in seeing Saudi get it. It's because of those types of conditions and the same sort of result for what happened with Qatar. So yeah, I mean, it's tough. But then we get into the thing about all the issues of other host nations that just might be something separate from how they treat migrant workers.
Mm-hmm.
It might be what they do through their military with foreign forces. So that gets to the question again, like who can host the World Cup as an ethical, large, wealthy nation? Who would that be? And I don't know if there is an answer.
I was actually going to bring this back to what you wanted to speak about last week with the visas in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want to like touch on that.
You could kick it off.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have thoughts.
I don't know.
I
Where
yeah.
you guys were going to go with this, but for me, it just raises the question of with immigration being such a hot topic in the U.S. and like the concept of reciprocity and how visas are a touchy subject all over the world. Like, how difficult will it be for folks to come to this country for the World Cup? That's kind of the question to the U.S.
I think Trump being the business person and wants to say the economy grew because of him and all that, he'll try to find a way to make it work for those fans to temporarily come just for the World Cup, is my guess. But it's just not, I mean, it's not a welcoming place for immigrants right now in any sort of imagination with what he's demanding to do. And then he's going to be saying, well, if you want to come here and spend money for the World Cup so I can say that I made the economy better during 2026, please do. And then leave and never come back and don't ever try to start a life here. That's kind of what it says. But I think from his purely capitalistic business mindset, they'll try to think of a way that the fans can come with no issue and then have probably very severe, you need to leave by this date after the World Cup sort of thing is my guess, but we'll have to see. Because you can't, from a purely economic standpoint that he wants to be able to brag about, you can't limit those fans coming, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Then why are you hosting a World Cup?
Right.
Because it really is a political, economic move more than anything. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we saw Infantino was at the inauguration of Trump.
Nasty work.
There's a long history of how you say his name? Infantino? Like his relationship with like autocratic governments, specifically like Putin.
Yep.
And other leaders of these countries that tend to be right wing and just like autocratic.
Mm-hmm.
And so if anything, I feel like Trump kind of fits the bill as a president who's like, I want to control everything and like there doesn't need to be like a consistency in my policy. I'm just gonna do what makes sense for me right now. Like that's kind of how he moves. And so I could see it being a situation where if Infantino is able to get in his favor, he'll do whatever he wants. Like we're already seeing that he doesn't really care about like local politics or like allowing states to have any say in like what's going on. And so I could see a situation where like on a local level, like these, FIFA committees are welcoming to whoever, but like Trump is like, nah. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like it could go either way.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's also talked about like a travel ban. He's talked about doing a travel ban harder than he did before, like with the Muslim ban.
Yeah.
And so I could also see a situation where folks who are applying for visas from like Western countries are a lot more favorable.
Oh, for sure.
And like able to come versus like folks coming from the Middle East or folks coming from Africa or folks coming from South America. Like I could see it being a regional thing too, where certain types of people are granted visas and others aren't.
Yeah.
So either way, I don't know. It's not going to be.
Is it ever an issue when like Latin American and Central American teams come to the U.S. and they need to apply for visas? Has that ever?
That's a good question.
Do you guys have any?
What do you mean?
Like
the
for
players?
example, like for example, if I don't know, like
Nicaragua.
El Salvador, Nicaragua needs to come and play in the U.S. Is that ever an issue for those players?
No, not yet. No, they just play.
Not that we know of.
Not that we know of. I've never heard anything about that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. If
But I
that's a
think
thing.
national team games, like to be on the squad registered through FIFA, I think that's already sorted. That it assumes if you're on the team, you can go travel to that nation to play.
So
Like, I think
I
that's.
don't know about
I
that.
think it is. I think it has to be, because I'm pretty sure as a national team player, because you're not working in the country. A lot of the visa issues I've seen has only been club level. For national team, is like you're
Yeah.
given permission to travel, perform this act, being the game.
I could see it
and
being a
travel
thing
back.
though, where like obviously there's been issues with Trump already and the leader of Colombia. I could see it being a thing where like, oh, the Colombian team is supposed to come play in the US.
Yeah, you
He's just like,
imagine.
nah, actually, nah.
I don't think.
Bro, he's that type of dude.
he
bro.
is. He is. No, he's the worst.
He would be like,
I think
actually-
his pure selfish business mindset, he's gonna try not to mess with the World Cup.
I mean,
I don't,
in
but
the
it's not
US
for. It's not like I don't know. I don't know what he has to gain for having a successful World Cup.
He clearly wants just the admiration of the American people.
Yeah, but
So
the
he wants
American, the average American person.
Well,
doesn't
it's
care.
to say economy. It's not actually about the World Cup. It's the economy. And now the World Cup goes to shit if you can't have the fans traveling from all the other countries. If this game went bad in this city, and it's
Yeah, I
because
don't know.
it's like how they'll say how a president handled COVID.
No,
in those different countries.
understand 100%.
They'll say for his own ego, he'll want the World Cup to go smoothly to say, back in 2026, he wants to be able to say that. So, but I do think for the people coming, he will put some sort of plan in place that you got to get the fuck out right after the final. I'm sure of that. You know what I mean? Whatever World Cup visa thing they come up with, I'm sure it's gonna. You're not gonna be able to stay much longer than that. And I agree too, based on what country you're coming from, could definitely affect your status. So we're gonna see.
I will raise two stories. One was in 2024 when the New York Times wrote an op-ed expressing concerns from fans from South America, who basically the New York Times just released a warning to South American fans saying that your window to apply for a visa starts now in 2024 because there's such a backlog of visa approvals from certain countries that don't have quick visa approval times, that like if you don't apply now in early 2024, early 2025, late 2024, it's very possible that your visa will not even get looked at or processed
100%
before you even travel to this country.
Yeah.
On the flip side, this is a story that happened in DC when DC United played a game against Asante Kotoko, which is a team from Ghana. There were two Sudanese players who were playing for Asante Kotoko who have still not been found, who like traveled with the team
Oh shit.
and fled training camp and have not been found. So essentially they defected to the US. They were Sudanese refugees, so they had Sudanese passports.
Shit.
Wow.
It's understandable why you'd come to the US looking for like refuge.
You know
But
that happened too was
That's a wild story.
I think that happened in North Korea in South Africa at
Yeah.
that World Cup.
yeah,
Multiple players went missing and never were found.
Yep.
Yeah. That's why the one time I was saying, like, it is interesting that North Korea has a team like that because people trying to leave factually. Like, it happened. It's crazy. Wow. Yeah, we're going to see.
Fuck.
I hope it goes smoothly. Obviously, the much bigger picture is I hope there's some level of damage control in his 4 years. That matters way more than just the World Cup.
Yeah.
But fucking hell, we going to
Yeah,
see,
we're
man.
cooked already.
Yeah, he's moving crazy.
He's
Like,
moving mad.
the energy is different than the last
Yeah,
time. He's
yeah.
like, no, I'm really doing it now.
The first 4 weeks.
Because I thought he was just gonna be like a loud idiot and like, kind of just don't actually do it. He's like, no, let's sign every executive order.
Yeah. He said, matter of fact, we're not accepting nothing from Canada, Mexico.
Yo,
He said, matter of fact,
he's so dumb. Real quick tangent, just
not
the Gulf
taking nothing from any
facts. The Gulf of America thing is, if
Yeah,
it
yeah.
goes through, will only be on like US VPN,
Yeah.
Google Maps, and then when you're anywhere else, it'll just say
And he was like, Canada.
Wait, but I don't. That's not the dumbest thing out of everything.
no, not the. You know what I mean? It's just like, bro, who cares? Like it
Yeah.
does nothing.
I mean, it's just a legacy thing for him. Like what?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
It's
saying.
the ego
Stupid.
thing.
Like it's
Whatever.
just so dumb.
He was also like, Canada, y'all could become a state.
Yeah, 'cause that.
All right.
This guy.
I do think we should buy Greenland though. I do agree.
How
with
does that work? You want to buy all types of people.
That is a very unsub thing of you, bro.
Speaking of Greenland, though,
You're a fan of imperialism?
It's not imperialism if you buy it, especially if they don't want to be Danish.
That's insane, bro. It's not imperialism if you buy it. Tell that to
That sounds like
tell that to Unilever.
it sounds like
If they
the
don't want to be
definition.
what they currently are and want to be part of the U.S., you have to buy it from Denmark. They want to be American for the most part in Greenland because there's only 40,000 people there.
This I don't know enough about this.
We'll talk
topic to talk
Actually,
with nuance.
Speaking of Greenland, they have recently been registered as a FIFA nation,
Yep.
and had an amazing rollout for their kits. Have y'all seen them?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful, bro. Like the home red has an incredible design. Shout out Hummel, even though I know you had beef for them for the Denmark World Cup and all that, but unbelievable print. Then they had the icy away kit with the dark collar, and they actually like shot it, in Greenland on the ice in the snow. It was beautiful. One of the cooler rollouts I've seen, especially if you're gonna announce yourself as a FIFA nation. Like what a way to get some press. I thought it was actually really, really cool. So shout out Greenland for that. Back to some current footy topics, though. We do have the Champions League heading into the first ever playoff phase to see who will be the last 8 of the 16 teams in the round of 16. So we had a pretty crazy last day of the league phase where everybody played at once, and now we have our tables shaping out.
Do you want to do a quick
predictions?
Rapid fire prediction?
For sure. That's what I exactly.
Explanation, just rapid.
No
fire.
explanation.
All
right. We'll start with Seb.
Yeah.
Champions League playoff predictions.
Yes.
Brest versus PSG.
PSG.
Club Brugge versus Atalanta.
Atalanta.
Man City versus Real Madrid.
Real Madrid.
Juventus versus PSV.
PSV.
Monaco versus Benfica.
Monaco.
Sporting Lisbon versus Dortmund.
Dortmund.
Celtic versus Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich.
And Feyenoord versus Milan.
Milan.
All right.
I'll do you.
All right.
Paris versus Brest.
Paris.
Club Brugge versus Atalanta.
Atalanta.
Man City versus Real Madrid.
Real Madrid.
Juve versus PSV.
Juve. Ooh. Which Americans do I rock with more in this scenario?
Bro,
I'm going to go with...
bro.
Huh?
The black ones.
There's black ones on both teams.
Jesus.
The black ones, bro.
Jesus.
Chill, bro. There's black Americans on both teams. I'm going to go with Juve.
Monaco versus Benfica.
Benfica.
Sporting versus Dortmund.
Dortmund.
Celtic versus Bayern.
Bayern.
Feyenoord versus Milan.
Milan. Did we skip Real Madrid?
Milan versus, Real Madrid versus Man City.
Real Madrid. Real Madrid, for sure. All right, Kendrick. Brest versus PSG. PSG is the higher seed.
PSG.
Okay. Club Brugge versus Atalanta.
Atalanta.
Man City versus Real Madrid.
Madrid.
Juve versus PSV.
PSV.
Monaco, Benfica.
Monaco.
Sporting Lisbon versus Dortmund.
Dortmund.
Celtic versus Bayern Munich.
Bayern.
Feyenoord and Milan.
Feyenoord.
Could happen. It could happen.
They took down City. They can take down y'all too.
It do be like that. Any other thoughts about that last match day that we just saw? Or even in Europa or Conference League, they also played simultaneous matches. We've talked about the success of the league phase, but
congratulations to UEFA on the success of the league phase, and there's tons of interesting games. Real Madrid City is super fun.
It happens every year, but yeah.
It's still super fun.
Yeah.
PSG Brest could be a fun one.
Yeah.
A little all French. I don't like that I don't like that teams from the same country can play each other, but I guess it's just seeding, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
I didn't like the last day everybody plays at the same time. I understand it, but like as a observer, it was like, this is too much.
You think 2 days would have been better?
Yeah.
That's what the group
Even if we just
do.
did 4 matches a day, or like 4 matches at the same time each day instead of all 8 games.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or however many games it was.
16. Something like that.
They have to.
Or 18 games. 18
Yeah,
games.
something
Yeah.
crazy.
They
but
do have to.
I understand.
Yeah, because it's a league. When it's a full league table, you have to because of how it can affect results.
I understand it.
Yeah.
It was just like, fuck.
Yeah.
It's too
It turned
much.
into like the last day of the Prem kind of
Yeah.
vibe. So last day of La Liga.
Yeah.
It's the
Sort of
same thing
thing.
with the World Cup. They do the same thing with the World Cup, right? Like
I don't know.
last
No,
day,
not the same day though.
the last day of each group.
Yes,
happens at the
correct.
same
Yeah,
time.
correct.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's what they did with Champions League too with groups. But with league, it's all one, so you have to.
Yeah.
We'll see though. Yeah. Any do you guys think this is gonna impact who wins, who's the final winner? I don't think it does. I think if you're the best team, you get through regardless. You find a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I think tired legs is still tired legs. My
Yeah,
prediction,
it's 4 extra games.
My prediction is that whoever wins the Champions League will be a team that doesn't play this week or
Top
this
8?
week. Yeah, it'll be a top 8 team because
So
it's 2 extra games. 2 extra games is a lot, especially 2 extra Champions League games.
it's fair.
I'm not saying that it'll affect you like that much visibly.
Yeah.
But in the long run, an extra 180 minutes of football in a tournament
At least.
is a shit ton.
Yeah.
So-
Tough games too.
Yeah.
So you think the winner is probably
A top 8
Liverpool, Barca, Inter type of team?
Yeah.
Agreed.
For
team.
sure.
But we'll see. We'll see. You never know.
It's a
TBD.
big fact. Speaking of Inter, if we want to get into Serie A, you don't have to talk about that game, but just because we're speaking Inter.
No, I mean, I
happens.
think what's interesting. Well, one interesting storyline for the Champions League is that Milan is playing Feyenoord, and we just signed Santi Jimenez,
Oh, facts.
who is Feyenoord's striker.
Can he play?
Yes, he can play because it's the next phase of the Champions League. So actually, his debut for Milan might be against Feyenoord.
That would be crazy.
Right around Valentine's Day, too.
Yeah,
Vengeful
so now
X vibes.
we technically have the best Mexican international and the best American international on the team.
I don't think Santi's the best Mexican, but
Who is?
maybe Raul Jimenez.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, guys who
Maybe.
perform for the national team. Santi's the biggest problem is that he hasn't played well
Yeah,
for the
that-
national team.
I was gonna say that whereas
Chucky, too, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
while Jimenez has not performed amazing for El Tri, he has been insane for Feyenoord.
He has been good. Yeah.
However, I am not the biggest fan of the Eredivisie in terms of players that have come from that league. A lot of players have flopped. Like Ten Hag's whole Ajax era, like all those players flopped. De Ligt has done terribly.
De Jong,
De Jong. De Jong has done
Tadic.
well. Frankie's done well.
pretty good. He still
I
hasn't.
think he's the only one.
He didn't become as good as we thought, though.
Yeah.
But injury issues is part of it.
Anthony flop.
Neres.
Neres technically is a Benfica Portugal. But he's a product of that system.
That's
though.
fair. That's fair.
I'm talking about players that went through the Eredivisie and then have come out and then at the end of the day
Nana. Your man's Cameroon.
Onana's been a little shit.
He's
But-
made some crazy mistakes.
Yeah,
recently.
so we'll see. I think it's honestly a good advertisement for the Eredivisie if he ends up doing well in the Serie A as a striker, especially for a club that's been looking for a striker, and especially in a league where strikers tend to really go off when they're in a good system. He works for Conceição's system very well.
What's his system?
I
haven't seen.
Wingers down the byline, cross it into a big striker in the box.
Got you.
But if he doesn't end up doing well for Milan, I think it could be really, really, really tough for the perception of the Eredivisie.
That's fair.
But yeah,
And y'all just shipped Morata to Fenerbahce?
Galatasaray.
Really? I thought it was
Yeah.
Fenerbahce.
Galatasaray.
Okay. He's been passed around, bro.
Dude, he's had a fun career.
Galatasaray is a thotty team, bro.
They are. They really just pick up. I told you. Any
anybody-
mid-30s player that you don't know where they at, they're at Galatasaray, bro. I
Anybody,
promise
they're
you.
like, bro, come enter me.
You know what's a fun transfer that hopefully happens today because today is deadline day?
Yeah.
I think it's
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Is,
It's weird that
Or
it's not
damn
the
near
31st.
like Tuesday.
Yeah.
St. Maximin to Napoli would be fun.
I did hear about that.
That'd be super fun.
Word.
Gucci Mane.
With that Gucci headband in Italy.
In Italy.
Proper. Give me that. That's fire. All right. Moving into La Liga, I think we got to talk about Villarreal, who I think is one of the most exciting teams in Europe, one of the best offenses out there. They just added Canadian Jhon Buchanan to the team.
Yes, sir.
And they have a very high-powered offense. So to ring off some of the names, they have along with Buchanan, they have Tierno Berry, they have Nicolas Pepe, Ayoze Perez, Alex Baena, Gerard Moreno, and they're scoring goal after goal after goal. They just put 5 up against Valladolid. They scored 4 against Mallorca. They put 5 up against Leganés, and that's all within just their last few matches. So yeah, I just think that the way that they're able to score these types of goals, this amount of goals, the amount of high-flying players they have from striker position, winger position, goals contributing from midfield, sitting 5th in La Liga, so should be able to qualify for a European spot as well for next season. I think they're very quietly one of the more underrated and more exciting teams in Europe this season right now. So yeah. If you're ever looking for a kind of a team to watch that maybe you haven't had a chance to check out this season, Villarreal is definitely there to give you a lot of excitement, a lot of goals, I would say.
And I definitely want to just show love to Nicolas Pepe because
Yeah.
I feel like he's been a bit of a journeyman.
For sure.
And like, especially when he was in the Prem, he got a lot of flack for having some like iffy performances and just inconsistency. So to see him on a team that's doing well,
Yeah.
see him being actually like a pivotal part of that club is just good to see.
Yeah.
For me, I want to shout out Jhon Buchanan.
Yeah.
Who just pulled up there. He was just at Inter, and I think he found it a little bit difficult to adapt to Inzaghi's style at Inter. But he was insane in Belgium for Club
He's
Brugge,
so great, yeah.
And he is an extremely talented player.
Yep.
And it's good for the Canadian national team and all Canadian soccer fans.
Yeah, facts.
Because for him to be playing week in, week out at a club like Villarreal that plays as much attacking football as they play, that emphasizes wing play as much as they do.
They do. They have
It's
so many
gonna,
wingers.
it's going to give them a lot of experience and a lot of. It's also going to give Canadian football a reference point.
Yep.
Because to have Davies and Jhon playing at that high level on the wings is incredible. So,
Yep. Then you got Jonathan David up top.
Yep.
Kyle Larin, I think, is on Mallorca as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
So they got a squad, man. Shout out CONCACAF for sure.
Again, La Liga Fantasy Managers. It's Seb here from Five-A-Side. And as always, I want to remind you guys that we have a Five-A-Side La Liga Fantasy League going on right now. And this week, we're going to give you guys some tips and some tricks on how to get ahead in the Fantasy League.
Yeah, no, I think my tip to the viewers would be to pick up some Villarreal players. As we just spoke about, they have an insane amount of talent. They've been on an insane attacking streak the last 4 or 5 matches, scoring 4 goals, 5 goals. And so if you've already had some of those players like Pepe in your team, you've been stacking up on points, but it's not too late. They're making a push for a Champions League spot. And so the goals are going to keep coming in. The excitement's going to keep happening. So I would stock up on some Villarreal players.
I guess piggybacking off that, a player to look out for who's just joined the Fantasy League, someone that you can buy right now is Jhon Buchanan, who's just signed for Villarreal. As we just spoke about, super versatile defensive player, but also can play as a winger, gets up and down the field a lot, defensively solid, so you'll get points from that, but also provides a lot of assists, so you can get that as well. And another player to look out for is Stefan Bajcetic, who joined Las Palmas.
Yeah.
He is a Liverpool player, but has been on loan in a couple of places, just came from the Austrian league. Incredibly talented player, super versatile, and joining a Las Palmas side that will guarantee him some minutes. Also a young guy, and he's hungry himself, has said it oftentimes in interviews, and so definitely a player to pick up for cheap with a lot of upside, playing for his team that is always contending and always trying to move up and make moves that are smart.
And speaking of cheap, 2 target goalkeepers that you can pick up that have almost the same amount of goals conceded as Oblak, who is leading with only 14 conceded, is Alex Ramiro and David Soria. So they are from Getafe and Real Sociedad, 2 of the more defensively solid teams in La Liga, just conceding, again, only 17 goals this season thus far. Teams that really rely on that back line to get them these key points in big matches. Getafe even recently was able to shut out Barcelona, for reference. We've talked about how well they play with that low block. Well, once you try to get past the low block, you have a great goalkeeper as well, which is why they're able to get so many clean sheets. So I think he's a great pickup, as well as, again, Real Sociedad's keeper. Real Sociedad are really relying on that back line because they're not scoring enough goals, which means for them to continue to stay where they are in the table, it really is picking up those clean sheets and just not conceding a lot. So another good goalkeeper there. That, again, is a budget option compared to Oblak, who is the number 1 keeper there.
As always, guys, make sure you are joining our Five-A-Side Fantasy League. Again, if you win the league at the end of the season, some insane points or some insane prizes are in store for you. You never know. A trip to Spain could be in the works, so make sure you sign up and bring your players onto the team.
Let's get it.
Bundesliga stuff?
Yes,
There's some
sir.
cool topics from the Bundesliga this week. The first one is Harry Kane has officially broken the Bundesliga record for most goals in 50 games.
Sheesh.
Wow.
55 goals in his first 50 league appearances for Bayern Munich, surpassing Erling Haaland with that statistic. So the question is, with Harry Kane moving at this pace and with Bayern Munich at the top of the league, if he is able to kind of be the catalyst that brings Bayern Munich to winning the Bundesliga this season, how does that affect his legacy, winning his first major trophy, doing it in this record-breaking style?
I think it means everything, right? It's been the one piece of his game that's missing is the trophy cabinet being empty.
Correct.
Well, the team trophy cabinet, because individual stats, he was unbelievable in the Prem.
Yes.
He's been great for Bayern Munich. And if he's able to now have a league title to go with all the individual success, it's that next notch for him to step up through his career and then see how many more team trophies he can add. So I think it's massive. It's really the last remaining thing he has. So it would mean everything for him. Yeah.
How important do you guys think trophies are for legacy?
Yeah, I would just echo what Gabe said. Like, if you can score all the goals you want in the world, Harry Kane has how many golden boots of seasons and tournaments and everything. But the only reason why people don't put him up there with the greatest ever is because he lacks those trophies. So, like, they kind of go hand in hand. Like, if you have all the trophies but you don't have any stats, people will say, oh, you're just tagging along.
Right.
Yeah.
If you have all the stats but no trophies, people will say, oh, you're just an individual talent without any accolades. So they kind of go together.
Yep. It's about your individual contribution to the trophy, and he's leading in that category. So it'd be huge, man. It's everything for him. And if he gets one this year, it won't be the last. You know what I mean? So,
how many trophies would Kane have to win to become an all-time Bundesliga striker? How many seasons? Ahead of him is definitely Lewandowski.
Yeah, I don't think he can catch Lewandowski because of his age.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lewandowski did how many
Age
seasons?
rise, he's kind of cooked.
Many.
Like 17
Yeah.
or something, right? Like, so that there's just no way he can't catch a Gerd Muller. No way.
Could he catch like an Aubameyang maybe?
Yeah.
How soon?
3 years.
Yeah, if he gets 3 straight, if he three-peats with Bayern, scoring like 30 plus a season, plus all the assists he get, because he's a really good playmaker too, that kind of just like, that peak is higher,
Sure.
you know?
Yep.
Aubameyang was a bit more of a talent that you were kind of waiting for the next move. Wasn't purely his peak sort of vibe. I think Kane at his peak, winning those types of trophies, putting up those type of stats, the records he's already breaking, that'll get him up there. And then what it will do, though, maybe he can't have the greatest legacy. He could have some of the best individual seasons ever, though. So that might be more of a fair comparison to Lewandowski in that sense. But overall career, there's just not enough time for him to catch.
Fortuna for all.
Yes. Yeah. Another really cool story from the Bundesliga. And we've spoken a lot about the German fan culture in Germany. This is another story from the second division in Germany, where a club called Fortuna Düsseldorf has decided to let their fans come to their games for free in a auction-style ticket raffle structure where fans can apply to get tickets. 4 games throughout the season, the 24-2025 season, are free for all to come in. And the initiative is called Fortuna for All. And the club CEO essentially said that just carrying on as things were was not an option for us. Without the Fortuna for All, we would probably be faced with difficult decisions today. So the initiative is designed to reinvigorate the fans and fill the stadiums with a diverse crowd. And it not only supports the club's financial sustainability, but also sets a new standard for fan-friendly practices in German football. What do you guys think?
It's amazing, bro.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
I think like there's so many teams around the world that could take a lesson from that page book and apply that to their own culture and their own fandom, because like even them putting as part of their intention to diversify what the stadium looks like is so important, because like actually making sure that like one of your pivotal initiatives is to make sure that everybody has access to your games is something that like seems so like, oh yeah, sure, like everybody should do that, but a lot of teams aren't taking the time and energy to make sure that's the case. So I think it's really admirable. I think it's smart. Like the biggest barrier to entry for people going to these games is financial barrier.
It is.
So clearing that barrier and like being able to create new fans for people who may not have ever otherwise gone is smart. And then you have people who are now invested and will actually put up money in the future.
Yeah, no, everything Kendrick said 100%, because we've seen issues with stadiums that aren't filling up. How do you solve that? We've seen issues in other countries where they're complaining about the prices of tickets being too high. How do you solve that? So I think it's just phenomenal for the local community, phenomenal for the fans. And once again, it goes back to just the German fan culture. These clubs have the 50+1 rule with fans having actual ownership in all these clubs legally as a requirement in the Bundesliga. So it's really in the foundation of the league, and this is just another example of that.
Right. One more kind of Bundesliga topic. I know we spoke about it earlier regarding the NBA trades. But a thought that just came to me is, so okay, you have this insane trade in the NBA with Doncic going to the Lakers and AD going to the Mavericks. In the Bundesliga, though, we have had some insane switches from club to club within the league.
It's true.
We had Götze go from Dortmund to Bayern, and we had Lewandowski go from Dortmund to Bayern. We also had Hummels go from Dortmund to Bayern and then back to Dortmund. So my kind of hypothetical to you guys is, would it be better or worse if these transfers were actually trades, and would it make it more interesting if these things happened in the way that they happen in the NBA, where they're incredibly mysterious and like unknown, and you only know when it happens? Would that be more interesting or less interesting to you guys?
I think the breaking news of it just happening out of nowhere is what makes it so exciting, because there's no time to slowly adjust yourself to the potentiality of it. It just happens. That's why the news was so big, is because this wasn't even a rumor. People were joking, you can't even do it in the video game. Like in 2K, it denies the trade. Like this doesn't make sense. So I think that would bring more excitement. And I think too, if you are gonna give a player of the players you just listed to your bitter rivals in the same league who keep beating you, the least you'd probably hope is something in return on the field. Obviously, they do get the money that they can then use to pick a specific player that doesn't have to be from that team. But I think at times it could make sense, because if your rival's beating you, they probably have a player that you might want on your squad. So I think player swaps could become a bit more common.
It has become, just off a tangent, it has become a bit more common in Italy. Teams swap players between each other much more often now.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Sometimes like we both can fix each other's issues rather than me having to now use this and then go buy another player's contract. So I think it can make sense and add some excitement for sure.
Would you guys think that like a player essentially being traded overnight would be well received by fans?
No, I don't think so. So that's the other thing, the shock of it
in this country.
Huh?
I don't know if other countries would accept it.
Well, I think, but like being a big soccer fan and a big NBA fan and seeing people who are only a fan of one of the two sports or two leagues, right? You see they don't have the viewpoint of the other places.
Yeah.
So in the NBA, there is no concept of trades being odd because it just is in the fabric of the sport. You grow up, you just learn about it. You know what I mean? If you were to introduce it into soccer, where it's never happened, where the players completely control where they play, you can't just trade a contract, right? Then it would be shocking because that's never happened.
There's trades in the MLS though, actually.
That's true. America.
Kellen was talking about it.
No, that's a fact.
I think Kellen spoke about
it. American Major League Soccer in the United States has trades, and the teams that play in Canada. But European, and not even Europe, the rest of the world, the majority of world football does not have trades. So I think it's hard to introduce because again, the players don't choose; it can just happen, and that's a problem. So
BHM,
yeah,
let's do it.
Speaking of players moving around the world and the impact of athletes on the sport.
Yes, sir.
I think, first of all, happy Black History Month. I think we should take a few minutes to just like highlight some of our favorite Black players from history. What are some favorite memories I'll have? Who wants to start?
Go ahead. Yeah.
I can start. I mean,
go ahead.
We all know my favorite Black player.
Yeah.
My favorite player.
Yeah.
Mario Balotelli.
Aye.
I think
troublemaker.
Indeed. I think to begin our Black History Month segment and our highlighting of our favorite players, it's only right that we start with Mario. I think he is perhaps the only player in that generation that was the way that he was.
Mm-hmm.
The stories that come out about him and the way that he was on the field inspired me to love the game because he was such a free spirit and like played the game completely from a perspective that was different from everyone else's, and I was really attracted to that. And I think that is also a part of like Black history.
Yeah.
In every industry, whether it's sports, music, entertainment, movies, TV, I think that element of like, I'm going to be different unapologetically is what made him special and what makes a lot of Black just like people in spaces special as well. So yeah, I think for that reason, yes, on the field he was amazing, but it was also off the field that made him as great of a player as he was for me growing up. So yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, for me, for Black History Month, I want to shout out a Trailblazer, that being Laurie Cunningham, the first Black Real Madrid player ever, and the first British player to ever play for Real Madrid. So he was signed from West Brom in England in the summer of 1979 and he was a Trailblazer. He had a very successful career with Real Madrid. On the field, Laurie Cunningham was a baller. He was a left winger, scored on his debut and helped Real Madrid to a league and cup double, and then was able to win another domestic cup after that as well, scoring in big games, doing all those sorts of things. And just, if it wasn't for Laurie Cunningham, you don't have the current Real Madrid squad that you have today, right? We have Vinicius Jr., Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Rodrigo, Jude Bellingham, who is specifically a Black British player.
Right.
So without guys like that in the past, you don't have what you have today. And yeah, it's just a groundbreaking moment. It's kind of crazy too that it really wasn't that long ago, right?
Yeah.
It was only 1979 when he first made the move. He did tragically pass away from a traffic accident in Madrid.
Oh, wow.
At only about 33 years old in the 80s. But yeah, long live Laurie Cunningham, and an absolute trailblazer for Real Madrid, and just completely changed the fabric of that team. So,
yeah, long live. The first person who comes to mind for me is N'Golo Kante. I think obviously not like historical player in terms of he's still actually playing, but I think like he's just so memorable because of his personality. I feel like at the time in like the mid 2010s, late 2010s, like the Black soccer players that you would see in the UK specifically were more like stardom type personalities, whereas N'Golo Kante was kind of an example of like the humble guy. He's very happy, he's smiling, he doesn't talk too much, he's not in the media for anything other than like his skills. And like one of my favorite stories about N'Golo Kante is that he had a Mini Cooper Like he had a tiny little car. He's already like a
Yeah,
tiny human
that's
being.
so funny.
But he drove this like tiny little humble Mini Cooper around the UK and like would only take it back and forth between like his crib and training. And all the players would be like pulling up in their Ferraris and their Lamborghinis. And he's just like, yo, like, I just need a car to get me to training. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's just cool to have that example of somebody who had that personality. And not to mention all of his accolades, World Cup winner, 2-time Premier League winner, doing his thing in Saudi Arabia now, closer to Mecca, which is important to, you know, him and his religion, his family. So, yeah, that's one of the GOATs. And I also want to shout out kind of like a category of players as we've done in the past. Trinity Rodman and Corey Bethune at the Washington Spirit. I think this wave of like young black players in the NWSL is kind of bringing in a lot of excitement and culture into the league that we haven't seen. That is so pivotal to the growth of the league, like creating new fans of all types of backgrounds, all race, gender, ethnicity, everything. And everything that they did this season, making it to the final, they should have got a penalty at the end of that game.
Facts.
But like, I think they're current Trailblazers that we're watching in real time. So
and like going off of that point too, I always talk about how successful the WNBA is right now. And a lot of it is based on the personalities in the league that drive it forward. The WNBA is not where it is right now, especially after last season, if it wasn't for two main people, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And so Trinity Rodman is another person who has the personality. She has the on-field talent. She's one of the most ridiculous players I've ever seen. I remember her. It was the first NWS. It was her rookie season where she was Rookie of the Year, nominated for MVP. I think she made a track back slide tackle, win the ball like Wayne Rooney, 60 or like 40-yard bomb assist to win the trophy. I'm like, yo, what's in overtime? She's ridiculous. She has tooth gems, you know what I'm saying? While she's playing, like she's fly, she's in the Adidas Gucci campaigns and everything. Like you need that to be part of pushing it because to get outside recognition, it is going to always be more than just what's on the pitch. And because of the age of the league, we talk about women's football being young. The NWSL is even younger. They need to promote culture.
It's true.
So,
I've seen a good amount of soccer games live. Trinity Rodman herself is, I think, the way I put it is I've never seen someone be so much better than everyone else on the field. Like the distance between Trinity Rodman and everyone. Because I'm from DC, so I saw her when she was like playing with the Spirit in her rookie season. I went to a couple games that year. It was so consistent that she was like the percentage that she was better than everyone else on the field. I've never seen before. As a rookie,
ridiculous.
It's insane. And I think another thing to go back to your Conte story, like Ranieri tells that story where he sees Conte in his Mini Cooper coming and going from trading, and then when Conte goes to Chelsea, Ranieri goes to visit him. Conte has sold the Mini Cooper, the blue one, and has given it to his family. He tells Ranieri, and so Ranieri goes like, "Yo, where's your Mini Cooper?" And Conte takes him back to the parking lot, and it's another Mini Cooper, but it's a gray one.
Humble guy.
Bro, I don't know. I think that's like that personality is so special, bro.
It's hard to do. We know what money and fame does.
Bro's making like hundreds of millions of pounds a week. He's like, I just want to play football, bro. Like,
literally.
I don't like.
Keeps you grounded.
I actually just want to sustain my life and my family.
And even now, going to Saudi Arabia, the amount of money that he's making is insane. But the quotes that have come out from him are like, yes, you may see the contract that goes to me under my name, but what you all don't understand is where this money is actually going, which is going back home. So
that's a great move later in your career too. World Cup winner, Champions League winner. Prem winner with Leicester,
and hey,
but
listen,
not Chelsea.
Bro, he was playing for France in the Euro.
Player of the season.
He was with France starting the year.
Yeah, no, I know.
Like last summer.
No, like so. Why not get the crazy bag and use it for charitable giving?
That's a GOAT, bro.
Yeah, for sure. I thought you were gonna say Drogba though.
I mean, you know how I feel about Drogba.
Yeah, great player too.
One other point I want to make about the growth of the NWSL. I think it's been cool to see all the celebrity investment as well.
That's a fact.
Which is, again, as we know, an important part of growing any sort of sports league. But we have Patrick Mahone, who's invested in the KC Current. We have Naomi Osaka, who's a part owner of Gotham FC. We have Serena Williams, who's invested in Angel City.
Their whole investment team is just mad famous women. And Alex O'Hannon as well. Yeah.
So it's cool to see. It's cool to see black men and women who are of, notable status, whatever, in the States, like investing in that league and being a part of building it. So
Jack Harlow too just invested in his local Racing Louisville squad as well.
BHM.
You know what I'm saying? Is you're funny, bro. Is Katie an investor too? I know he's in Philly Union, but I thought he might be in Gotham as well.
Definitely Philly.
I know he's in Philly.
Is it Gotham?
I thought he had an NWSL.
I think he does. I feel like he's low-key Spirit. Yeah.
Or is it Spirit?
I think it's
Yeah.
Spirit.
Katie's Spirit?
I think so.
It might be Spirit. Yeah. Magic Johnson is an investor in the Spirit as well.
Yeah, Magic.
Yeah, Magic Johnson.
That's what's up.
Actually, Trinity scored a banger of a goal and then did the dunk celebration with
That
him,
was tough.
and then like dapped him up for it. That was really cool too.
That was
So
cool, yeah.
yeah, no, it's huge, man. It's huge. And I mean, if we're gonna talk about Trailblazers, gotta talk about Brianna Scurry.
Yep.
Black woman goalkeeper, World Cup winner for the U.S. Women's National Team at a time when the U.S. Women's National Team was not nearly as diverse as it is today. Like, she really was such a figure in that moment. And just like, even the perception of soccer at that time was that it was much more of a white sport, especially on the women's side, even further. So she just meant a lot. And like, what a baller she was, everything that she's doing now for the community and everything. And just for these young girls, like she has represented so much, man. So again, without people like her, you're just not going to see as diverse of a team as we have now.
Yeah.
Where now, I mean, we had the whole joke of the triple espresso, the whole front three, all being black, right? Then you got Naomi Guerma in the back. You've got other players on the team too. So Crystal Dunn, another legend that came from her. So shout out Brianna Scurry, man, because she really was a trailblazer.
I think it's super important. Like, I don't think people understand how important it is for there to be like black female athletes on the women's side, because it normalizes the sport. It normalizes the sport at a youth level for black girls to be playing soccer. And I've, like, growing up in DC, like, a lot of my friends played soccer, but like a lot of my black female friends ended up moving away from the sport because it was almost tennis-like.
Oh, yeah.
Which has now changed. Shout out Serena.
It's
100%.
But like
in Venus, in
the sense that it was considered a white upper class sport for girls specifically.
Definitely.
And so for black girls to be playing soccer, parents sometimes would say some crazy things like, "Oh, like, you're too big to be doing this. Like, you like, you're gonna put my daughter in danger." And like the racialization of like black girls' bodies in youth soccer in this country is a serious thing.
Oh yeah,
that's a good shout.
So to see black women playing for the U.S. national team on that level normalizes it for that community. But then when black girls start playing the sport and it becomes a figure of black women in the black community, it only will then help the male side of the sport, because black men will see it as a viable option as well. In athletics in general, of course. So and the system is a reinforcing positive, which is a good thing.
And then getting into that,
great.
We talking about how much blacker the women's team is. Look how much blacker the men's national team is. You could start easily 8 or 9 black players right there. So we got Anthony Robinson, Eunice Musa, Weston McKinney, Tyler Adams, Timothy Weah, right? You could put Balogun up top. You know, we've got Haji, right? Like, there's just so much black talent on the team. And it's just great to see defenders as well. Mark McKenzie, Chris Richards, Miles Robinson. You know, I already mentioned Anthony Robinson, like, super, super diverse. You know, and so that's another great piece of change, because growing up, it wasn't the same, right? You had, shout out, Oguchi Onyewu, DeMarcus Beasley, you know, Tim Howard. You did have a few guys, and then we started getting some of the German internationals like Jonathan Brooks, Cameron as well. Cameron Jones, I believe was his name, in the midfield. So yeah, just to seeing the diversity of both the national teams is great to see, and more representative of our country as well. So very, very inspiring stuff. And then 2, we've talked about like the youth level, how much blacker that's gotten, right? Because there was the high school team, was that in New Jersey, that won the national championship?
Oh, yeah.
The player of the year. St. Benedict's, right? If you look at the recent MLS drafts, how black it was. We did a post on Wavy. It might have been 16 of the top 20 players, and maybe 2022 that drafted were black players, you know, from college. For instance, like Patrick Aguimong, who's now made his national team debut, scored, and now is going to be balling out at Charlotte with Wilfred Zaha, you know, as another example of that. So it's just really dope to see. And within it, you see the diversity of like the different types of black Americans, which we can get into our own personal discussion. Because Josie Altidore, I believe, is Haitian, right? And then Patrick, who I just mentioned, is Ghanaian American, like Josh, right? You know what I mean? So it's really cool to see. Then we have like Anthony Robinson, who's like a black British American. And then all these different guys from different heritage. Timothy Weah, you know, Liberian and Jamaican. So it really shows like this is what America is like. We're
Yeah.
actually truly a melting pot.
It's
And then New
true.
York City being the ultimate melting pot that we're sitting in right now. So
Not to be
Yeah.
negative about it, but do you guys want to discuss the lack of black coaches in the
Yeah,
sport?
No, that's a huge
That's exactly
thing.
where I was going.
no, it's huge. Well, let's talk about the lack of it and then shout out the ones who are doing it well that don't
Yeah.
always get those opportunities. So
Yeah, I think it's some like wild percentage, like 40% of the players in the English Premier League are black, but there's like maybe like one or two black
Black
coaches.
I
And
think
like,
one Nuno, right?
yeah, and like the first black Premier League coach was only like 15 years ago. in, like,
Blackburn
2010.
Rovers, I think.
Yeah, or
Yeah, I
something
remember
like
him,
that.
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we can talk about it on the club level, but then international level, it's even wilder in my opinion. Like
Yeah.
if you look at some of the international competitions like AFCON or like the Gold Cup or some of these things, and you see like Mali come out and their head coach is like
White
a 60-year-old white dude, or like, you know, the same thing goes for like the Caribbean
Jamaica,
nations as
yep.
well. And I don't know, I was trying to like look into it and see like if people had like deep thoughts or writings or like an explanation, and I haven't been able to see anything that's like actually like meaningful.
I have one.
Yeah.
I mean, so we know there was a statistic on it about how often they were using the phrase like pace and power to describe black players,
Yeah.
which is diminishing the mental and the technical side and just looking at them as purely athletic.
Mhm.
And if you see that player as purely athletic and you're not appreciating their footballing brain,
Yeah.
then you're not going to have them be a coach. So that same sort of bias towards the players not being seen as these footballing geniuses that they often are,
Yeah.
you then take that credit away. So once they're no longer playing and don't have the athletic ability,
Correct.
what is their contribution to the pitch? Well, they can't coach because they're just pace and power.
Exactly.
So it's a lot of that. And a lot of it too is unconscious bias,
Mhm.
right? It's not that we think that the boards are necessarily purely thinking, oh, I can't have a black coach because of that. But it's that slow unconscious bias that filters into that same mindset. The pace and power is gone. So what's the use of the athlete in that sense? So
That's a
I
good
think
point.
that's a big reason for it too.
And you're right. And actually, the rise of that, there was like a string of black Dutch coaches who were kind of the first wave
Yeah.
of black players that were considered
Intellectual.
Yeah, like
intellectual
Seedorf,
players.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Seedorf.
Seedorf, Rijkaard,
Kluivert,
Gullit, Kluivert.
Mhm.
That was that first wave of
Yeah.
black coaches, the intellectual Dutch midfielders.
Yeah.
They were like mixed, and
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Yeah, it's
You're
fact.
right. You're fully
They were,
right.
Yeah.
they were more seen as European than
Yeah.
anything else.
That's true because Thierry Henry can get a coaching job more easier
Yeah.
than probably some
he has
African
he has the
players.
French accent.
You know what I mean?
He's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, cooked.
So it goes. But shout out some of the black coaches out there that are doing it right now.
Yeah.
Nuno Espiritu Santos absolutely killing it
Yep.
at Nottingham Forest.
Vincent
I
Kompany
mean,
at
Vincent Kompany at Bayern looking like he's going to become a Bundesliga champion.
Yep.
A lot of people question that signing too
Hell
due to
yeah.
his lack of experience.
Hell
but
yeah.
if you got it, you got it, bro. Look at what Zizou did with Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Look at what Xabi Alonso's quickly been able to do as a young coach at Bayer Leverkusen. You got to trust in young coaches, man.
Yeah.
So
We got to
regardless of color, yeah.
We got to shout out Wilfred Nancy as well.
Big
at the
MLS
Columbus
shout.
Crew, who won it, I believe, in 2023, a couple years ago. First black MLS coach to win the MLS Cup. He has a crazy story too. Like he grew up in France. He played in France. He started coaching actually while he was in college. So he was coaching like another college and playing in like the Canadian League in college. And so he won
That's insane.
like MVP of like the Canadian University League while he was also coaching.
Coach of the
Like,
year.
it was something crazy.
yeah.
So yeah, there's gems and there's like
Yeah.
examples of what happens when you give people opportunity. So we just need more opportunity. And I think one thing that we don't talk about a lot as well is like black executives.
Yeah.
Like what would lead
Yeah.
to more black coaches is more black executives, black
More-
owners,
Yep.
people in those positions of power who are like consciously thinking of those things.
Yeah.
And so that's just another avenue of like,
Yeah.
how do we get more black owners? How do we get more
Yeah.
black CBOs? How
Yeah.
how do we get more black CMOs and people in like
hmm
the front offices?
What I'm excited about is that the current crop of bad word to
players.
use, but it is a word they use. The current pool of black players is
Crop.
it's in the whole context it's crazy, but it's kind of the word, right? But no, in this current pool of black players,
Yeah.
they're very multi-hyphenate, to use a fancy word, in terms of look at their interests in music, in fashion,
it's true.
and conversation, and podcasting, and charitable giving. And if you just look at guys like, you know, a Chouameni to a Vinny to a Leao to a Moise, like they're involved in a lot of different ways. So I could see these guys having interest in impacting football once they're 40 and retired.
They're buying
in
clubs.
different ways.
Yeah, it's true.
It could be buying clubs.
No,
it
but
could
they
be
are. They're buying
I want to be
clubs.
sporting directors. Yeah, Vinny is part of an ownership
And
group.
Mbappe just
Mbappe's
bought,
part of an ownership group. So, and they literally are doing
Conte
it now.
just bought a club in France as well.
So they're leveraging the financial gain, and I think that their interest they getting into like being a professional athlete, your brain can go in so many different ways now. You see the opportunity. So I think that's going to create the change too. Same way could be said about the NBA and how interested they are in so many other things, and how I think they're going to impact the game a lot once they retire too. So I think this current group of black players is that next wave that can make quite the change. So
Yeah.
it's very exciting to see. And if we keep talking about the current pool of players, the current talent pool of black players is insane. And if you think about the next 10, 15 Ballon d'Ors, how black is it going to be? No, for real though.
It's true.
If you think about Vinny, Salah, you keep bringing back to that. And chat, let us know if Salah's black, bro. Nah, I don't fucking know.
Comment down.
Yeah, comment down below if Mohamed Salah. But bro, Vinny, Lamine Yamal, Rafinha, Rodrigo, Mbappe, like, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. So it's just good to see, man. It's good to see, honestly.
Yeah. Another slightly sad topic, but something I've been thinking about is kind of like, I think something that comes up often when we talk about black players is obviously like where they come from, right?
Mhm.
Like we have all these stars in Europe right now who might play for the French national team, but then the Argentinian national team is like all of your parents are from Angola. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a constant discussion of like ancestry and like players who come from other countries. And we kind of like, we end up ignoring that whole part of their story, but we know of so many players who like grew up in refugee camps. Like Kamavinga was born in an Angolan refugee camp. Alphonso Davies was born in a Ghanaian refugee camp. We just talked about Amad Diallo, who like had to be smuggled into Italy in order to like get an opportunity to play in the pros in Italy. And so there's kind of this whole half of like these, not even just calling them players, but these people's experience that oftentimes gets like overlooked. Like,
I wrote my thesis on this.
Yeah, like we have a whole, I don't know, like plethora of people who are now like these stars and making millions of pounds and like these famous soccer players. And we talk about, oh, they scored a goal for France. They scored a goal for Italy. But like nobody talks about, oh, they are also like 5 years old living in a refugee camp because they had to flee civil unrest in their country.
And
you know what I mean? And I think that's just something that like we should talk about more because it's an important part of their stories. Is why we get the player like N'Golo Kante who's so humble and happy and cheery. It's because like, he probably, like his family went through some stuff to get to Paris. So yeah, I don't know. It's an important part.
Like, it's not just that player specifically. It's also the player's family. So like the story of the human being is reduced to almost like a headline or like a feel good rags to riches story. And the prime example for me is the Williams brothers story. Where they made like a movie about the trek of their parents like crossing the desert from Ghana, like literally their parents almost dying, like escaping slavery in Libya, getting all the way to Ceuta in Spain, and then a missionary telling them that they should get rid of their Ghanaian citizenship and apply for citizenship as Liberians because that way they would be accepted because they were technically refugees from a country that was at war. And that story is reduced and condensed into maybe like 7 minutes within a documentary. But like kind of to your point, these insane stories that people go through and these insane sacrifices that people have to make are reduced to like kind of the intro for people's lives. Because, okay, now my son plays for Spain. And it's definitely something that needs to change narrative wise. And it's something that like me working in sports media, like I always try to
say that. Yeah. It's like a media thing.
I always make sure that like when we talk about black players who have these backgrounds, we don't use the background as like a tool to like, I don't know.
Like a romanticized
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. Exactly. I can't stand it. And it happens way too often. And it takes people like us who are conscious of it to stop.
That's why we started this shit, honestly.
Exactly.
Literally.
Yeah. And it's like, I think obviously this is getting a little deeper now.
Let's do it.
But I think like we also need to have conversations about why people are fleeing the countries that they're fleeing, right? Because we can't talk about like
It's a fact.
civil unrest in Angola without talking about like the colonial history of Angola and like the lasting legacy of like colonialism and like global interference within that country. And so the more we like erase those parts of these like player stories and don't give like the time and energy to like these origins, the more we kind of also erase like the conversations that could be had about, okay, how do we actually make it so that there's no more people born in refugee camps?
Yeah.
Like, how do we have those conversations? And how do we have it so that these players whose families are coming from Africa, like they can actually just stay in Africa?
That's
and
the biggest.
Feel the need to flee and sneak into another country.
Yeah.
Like that's the part of the narrative that like people aren't having.
Mm-hmm. It's real.
And
that just goes into the completely disrupted world we live in right now that's just not stable, like any country stable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like global politics and shit. But this football is the world's game, and that's what it gets to. It gets to global politics to really answer the questions of, why does France's team look like that? Well, you have your answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that also gets into the conversation on kind of dual identity, because those players that we speak about now, well, no, it's real, and now is the month to have it.
It's funny.
No, that's fire.
Yeah.
Like, what is the identity of the, Camavinga, Angolan refugee, who grows up in France, or the other guys on the French national team, or Mbappe from Bondy, grew up in that multicultural Parisian neighborhood, and he feels French, but also feels Cameroonian and Algerian. Like, it really gets into then the identity of those players. But then you have the other ones, some of the, for instance, British Nigerians who choose to play for Nigeria. But then was that decision based on I couldn't make the English national team? There's so many dynamics at play for country representation. Yeah. And there's a lot of Black History and Black History Month to talk about for why they pick the teams they do, for how the way they grew up, how they determine how they identify. Like, it's just very interesting. And you see it play out now, I think, in more ways, though. It used to just be, they're definitely only playing for the European nation. Now it's like, it's a legit question. What nationality will these guys represent once they hit that, 17, 18? Yeah. So any thoughts on kind of dual identity? I mean, we all have our own dual identity, too. Yeah. Being American plus whatever. And then, do you even consider yourself, you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot. Yeah.
I mean, mine is a hot take. I don't think it's a hot take anymore.
Good.
I still think that, like, the concept of representation should be expanded. And like allowances for representing multiple nations should be a thing. I think that, but it is what it is.
Speak on what do you think would be like a legit structure for that?
Yeah,
because you just need structure.
What's the rationale? Like, why? Why is that important?
It's important because the concept of nationality is something that is based on many different things and is not consistent from country to country. Mm-hmm. So in the U.S., you can be American. Well, in the U.S., you could be American if you were born in this country for now, and that makes you American.
That's like up in the air.
Exactly, but that's
facts. The birthright.
That's not the case in some other countries. Some other countries require you to have lineage through your father. Some countries require lineage through your mother. Some countries require that you at least have a grandparent. So the concept of nationality is different from country to country. So that means that
it's arbitrary. It's
arbitrary.
Yeah,
which means that it's a concept that is clearly arbitrary and not consistent from place to place. So what really matters is how you personally feel about where you're from. In today's day and age, the concept of feeling that you're from multiple places is more valid than ever, because kids are born, for example, a player like Yunus Musa, who was born, I believe he's born in Italy to Ghanaian parents.
No, he's born in New York City.
Born in New York City, moved to Italy.
Never lived there,
from Ghanaian parents, and then played in Spain. And grew up in, so like that's not a good example because I don't know his story too well. Maybe like
he's playing in the U.S. and he was born there and never grew up there.
Thank you.
That is a fact.
A player like Yunus Musa, who was born in the U.S. but never really grew up in the U.S., considers himself American and plays for the American national team. A player like Hakimi, who was born in Spain, grew up in Spain to Moroccan parents, is playing for the Moroccan national team. A player like Brahim Diaz, who was born in Spain to a half Moroccan parent, half British parent, half British Spanish parent, grew up in England, is playing for Morocco.
Yeah. And
So-
then you have Lamine Yamal, who chose Spain. And then you have the Williams brothers. One chose Ghana, one chose Spain. It just, like, I think that's what I'm saying now. The direction
the Boateng
goes
brothers,
anyway.
one chose Germany,
Yeah.
one chose Ghana.
Yep.
So the concept of nationality being this like hard and like
It's completely made up, literally.
it's not anywhere near as defined as people would like to think it is. So for someone to come along and say, hey, I want to represent two different nations because I feel equally this and that is nowhere near as insane as it would have been 40 years ago. Now, the structure for it is complicated.
Very,
I think
very complicated.
maybe what you do is you limit it to continental competitions. So yes, you can represent France in the Euros and you can represent Cameroon in AFCON. And then you have to make a decision internationally. You must make a decision internationally.
That'd be fire.
There are rules in place where, for example, and you can model it off this, if you're a lone player, there are sometimes contractual obligations where you can't play against your parent club. So if I'm a Cameroonian who also plays for France in the Euros, I can't play against France in like international competitions.
Yeah.
There are ways that you can borrow off what already exists in soccer. And not to mention, guys, Declan Rice began his career for Ireland.
It's true.
And then played for England. Jack Grealish began his career for Ireland and then played for England. So it's not just black people with nationality issues.
Yeah,
this is also, what's his name? Matty Cash. Who is
Polish, but he's
English,
Irish.
doesn't speak a word of Polish.
I was like, how is
plays for
Matty?
the Polish national.
He looked like a Villa dude, yeah.
Because his grandfather is Polish.
Yeah,
So
and he's allowed to.
there is a case for people feeling multiple things and being eligible for multiple nations and then playing for multiple nations. I'm going to get cooked in the comments, but that's what I believe.
I think the biggest thing, though, the reason they make you commit is for the simplicity of the structure. Because how do you tournament to tournament? Like, but does that create its own excitement? Tournament to tournament, you don't know what Cameroon's going to look like. Are they French or are they Cameroonian?
Nah, but like
It's crazy.
The teams that you would get would be insane.
Yeah.
Imagine
Cameroon gets nuts.
Bro, imagine the Nigerian national team.
And it would grow African soccer.
Of
No,
course.
that's
It
the
would grow-
continent
it
that would grow the
soccer
most.
globally, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the continent that would benefit the most is unquestionably Africa. It'd be interesting with Indonesia, the Dutch-Indonesian vibe too. That
And
would
with
change the
Suriname.
squad. Suriname, for sure. Caribbean nations, it would help a lot too. All the British Jamaicans, that completely, even though it's not working out too well right now.
And you never know. What might happen is people might realize that, like, I could totally see this happening where enough players feel the freedom of being able to play for an African nation and just never look back.
Yeah.
That's completely possible. Where,
I agree.
okay,
I think
it's
in
open.
basketball you can too.
Of course, in basketball you
Yeah,
can.
no, Embiid has played for France
Cameroon
and US,
yes.
and he's from Cameroon. Yeah.
So in basketball you can.
So
in the
Ibaka
Olympics,
played for Spain
in the Olympics
just
you
because
can.
he played in
Actually.
Spain.
In the Olympics it's very normal actually.
Olympics is easy.
I mean,
think,
in Olympic boxing, all of them were Cuban, but they had different flags. But all of them had very Cuban names and like had grown up in Cuba, had Cuban coaches. What's a Cuban name?
They were all Cuban. Chavez. I don't know.
Like,
Don't say Castro.
no, I wouldn't. That's you who said that.
All right.
I hope the camera.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
I have a question for you guys. Would you be in support of a colonialism cup? Now let me explain.
Yo, land it.
Like what? France.
France versus
I
Cameroon.
think we need to pit the previous colonial
Powers.
Mhm.
against the places that they colonized and see who would win.
And
And
the,
like on one half of the bracket are all the countries who have been colonized.
Right.
On the other half of the bracket, we have like France, England, Spain.
Portugal.
Whatever.
so you have
Portugal.
one colonizer and one
And Dutch.
colonized in the final.
Yeah.
So the colonizers beat each other up. The colonized beat each other
Oh,
up.
actually, yeah, no, we don't want
You got to
we don't
flip
want
it.
that. Yeah, they
Each
gotta be
matchup needs to be
intertwined.
colonizer
Yeah,
versus
that's what I'm
colonized.
getting at. That's
Okay,
what I'm
got
getting
you. And does France get to use the players of African origin?
To beat you with your own descendants.
at. Yeah, that's crazy.
But that is
crazy.
colonization.
That's crazy.
That is the real colonization.
But I think you can because the players have to choose. Like
Now
you have to
Now you look crazy.
you have to choose me. What you mean?
You look crazy.
No, the
choosing to play
players.
for France.
Oh, that's
But
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But if that's your choice, then you got to stick with it.
All right.
Like the conversation about Mbappe. If we have France versus Cameroon and you pick France, it's like, all right, bro, we see where you stand. I want to know
it's
where
funny
they stand.
because now it's like saying that France colonized that country because of a soccer player that's family.
No. It's not.
I'm fucking with you.
It's not because of that. But
No,
I
I'm
think,
saying it's funny to look at colonizer team, and you have colonized people's origin children on the team.
I think the colonized teams would win.
Colonized. If the colonizers get to use their,
Depends on where they play.
yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, y'all said no one would win AFCON besides an
That's
African
what I was
team.
getting at. Depends on what country they're playing in. Who's hosting
Okay,
it.
fair.
So
Let me
actually, wait a minute. There is precedent for this just a little bit. Not really colonization, but the Gold Cup does like invite other countries. Like Qatar did play in the Gold Cup, right?
Yeah.
It did happen.
And FIFA,
What if AFCON like invites France? That would be lit.
like just so they can fuck them up.
That would be lit. You never know. AFCON.
The
like,
matchups would be crazy.
there actually is a world in which like some of the, like Euros could eventually invite other like we
I
don't
mean,
know.
there are a
Things
bunch of
change,
little-
bro.
There's a bunch of like odd tournaments. I mean,
There are.
the least odd one of that is like the tournament where FIFA just created, which is like the Middle Eastern and Arab Cup. It
Yeah.
doesn't really exist. That's not like real, but they did a team with like teams, North African teams,
Algeria won it.
like Northeast African teams, so like Djibouti, Somalia were invited as well,
Djibouti.
and then Middle Eastern teams. Yeah, Sudan was there. Then there's the other weird thing where it's like the non-federated states tournament. So it's like islands like Sicily or like and Puerto Rico and like these
That aren't
countries
in FIFA.
and like Greenland. They are the country Greenland formerly.
No, yeah, form
Countries
yeah.
that have federations but aren't in FIFA.
FIFA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting.
All I'm saying is, if you had like a colonizer cup with some variants of that, the passion on the field would be insane. Like
On both sides?
England versus Jamaica, bro. The Jamaicans in the crowd are going dumb, bro.
Yeah.
Haiti versus France.
Nah, that's the one.
Yeah.
You got it behind you.
Haiti versus-
Portugal versus Angola.
That one's crazy. Yeah.
Like the passion in the stadium.
Congo,
is-
Belgium.
Bro,
Yeah.
bro,
Different. It's
those
different.
players are fighting
What does
for their
Lukaku do?
lives.
It's bet online. Yeah.
2-foot tackles, bro.
Yeah, that's
Congo,
a fact.
Belgium is nuts.
Congo, Belgium is very.
I'm just saying, bro.
Yeah.
But how does that work?
I don't
with-
know how we'll do that in real life, but in theory, that would go crazy.
Bro, France though, right? They got a lot of countries. So
Or we
how does
just do
that,
it- or we
is it a
just-
group?
Or we just do a street version.
Le Parc, that's
Yeah, or we just do a street version.
they already
Like,
started
this
up in Paris, bro.
Maybe this just needs to be a five-a-side thing.
Colonizer Cup. I think the wildest
Sponsored
part
by
It can't,
and who's
it can't be the Colonizer Cup.
Bro,
we,
have
need
a
deck.
we need a better name. We need
No,
a better
I think
name.
what's funnier is like
Redemption.
finding a way to execute it without
Reparations.
ever really mentioning what it's really is. No, but like, yeah, France is gonna play Haiti, Congo's gonna play Belgium, but like, no, just it's just how the bracket drew up,
Nah,
but like, don't
you
ever.
Have, you have to be explicit about it. You have to be explicit.
You think France is gonna sign up for that?
bro?
Who in France is like, yeah,
That's what I'm saying. We're making a street competition, bro. It has to be.
Who's showing up for France?
The far
bro,
right, bro.
There's no.
Oh,
you-
see, that's where kids.
Nah,
yeah.
you don't even have to be far right, bro. There's a lot of people who are proud to be French, and they'll be like, all right,
Yeah, but they're not proud of the colonization part.
yeah, all right, fair.
Like, you could be a really cool, nice white French guy, be like, no, but that was not very good. That was, you know what I mean? Like,
That's fair. Nah, but
like Pierre didn't do that, man.
I think there are hella French soccer players
I think you would get some right wing motherfuckers with face tags.
who are nice, and they'll play, bro. They'll play.
Oh my god,
Anyway.
that's how they're gonna start elections in
Now we're
Europe.
going off the deep end. Now we're going off
It's crazy.
So basically, I was scrolling on TikTok and I found a fan graphic that was made creating a spectrum for where clubs lie on the political spectrum. So at the top, it's clubs that are closer related to like elitism. At the bottom, it's clubs that are more so for the people.
Okay.
And then on the left, you have clubs that are more left-leaning politically. And then you have clubs on the right that are more right-leaning politically.
This is
Lazio.
This is great.
This is great. Look at Lazio. Look at
So you
Chelsea.
have on the
Where's Chelsea?
so
Top right.
No, we're not. We're not.
Yeah, you are.
Nah, I don't see
It's
them.
got pink on it. It's the look at the little line
We're
right next to
finished.
Lazio.
We're finished.
Madrid is very elitist, but not
Bro,
very
my
far
club-
right. I appreciate.
My club is
that. I
cooked.
appreciate
We're
that.
elite and all the way on the right.
We're elite in the middle. I'll take it.
Damn.
Where's AC Milan?
So you have Milan is more so in the center left, like right near Napoli and stuff. So
Yeah.
the most extreme elite club that is left is Bayern.
Mm-hmm.
Extreme
interesting.
right club, Inter, Gremio, and Lazio. Chelsea is also there. Juventus is there.
My chest.
And then middle.
Some center clubs.
My Shayla.
Some center clubs of note are Aston Villa, Manchester City, Manchester United, Fiorentina, Napoli, Milan, Botafogo, Bayer
This is
Leverkusen.
fascinating.
Real Madrid, you're probably wondering, high on the elite, but in the middle politically.
And then
Barca's in the left. That makes
elite-
elitist, but left, yeah.
elitist, but also
Is this
far right.
Syracuse?
was confused.
Al Ahly, interestingly enough,
Is where?
is a very far right, but for the general, like for the like
Yeah.
um
Atletico, not elitist, but super far right. We know that.
City, they have City smack in the middle. That's interesting.
Marseille is a far left for the people club. Pumas, Rayo Vallecano.
I like Betis there.
Wait,
but
Egress.
people too.
I think it's more valuable to like discuss the why because we can just put this on the screen.
Sure, but I have no idea how to structure the clip. I just thought the graphic was super cool.
Inter Miami is
Where are
in
they?
the middle on the right. Like they're elite and they're kind of like leaning towards the right.
Oh, they are. Yeah, I
Well,
can see that.
Why?
You know why?
Miami club, them Cubans.
They are in Florida. Florida is very
very
right.
Republican.
Very right. Very Republican.
Why is Juve far right?
They have so it's Torino and Juve, right? Juve is much more so for the right on the political spectrum.
Damn.
Torino is much more so on the left.
Bro, this is
Look at Atletico. Let's
This
go
is-
deep right.
This is
Told ya.
earth-shattering, bro.
Chelsea's
Arsenal-
definitely right.
Arsenal, they have placed
Left, right?
center left.
That makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
But I might
They're
even put
very
them
like
further
community.
away. Yeah,
Yeah, they're very
I would put
community.
them
They're
very-
not overly elitist.
Yeah.
Tottenham left, I wouldn't have known. City might go off of some of their history. I thought
kinda-
they'd be higher in elitism now, but
What are
I
you
guess
guys
it's changed.
surprised by? I guess we can structure it like this. What are you guys surprised by? What are you guys not surprised by?
I'm surprised by Boca Juniors being on the left politically and towards the bottom in terms of like for the people socialism.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I mean in Argentina at least, it's like they're pretty socialist,
Compared
like
to
for the
their
people
neighbors?
club. Yeah,
Hmm.
I think it's
I'm
Anything
surprised to see PSG.
On the right?
I'm not surprised to see them on the elitist side of the spectrum. I'm surprised to see them far right.
Yeah. I wouldn't know that.
Yeah, that is surprising to me.
Maybe they're not very
It's
community
Paris,
based.
But
Yeah.
yeah, to be fair, Paris would be mad racist.
yeah.
I'm surprised that is a Galatasaray logo, actually.
Which
Where?
Right near
Oh,
Ajax.
Yeah.
I'm surprised by first of all, Galatasaray being that elite. They have them almost as elite as Monaco
Yeah, fact.
and Real Madrid. They have them more elite than Real Madrid, which
Yeah.
is surprising to me.
I don't know how Madrid wouldn't be number one elitism. I guess Monaco being the most elitist place on the
Oh,
planet.
bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Monaco should be.
But I guess it's purely cultural. It's not.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
purely cultural. Yeah. I think Inter is killing me, bro. Inter and Lazio. That's Serie A. So.
I'm just sad Chelsea's there, but it makes sense.
yeah. I mean, bro, yeah, Putin.
Yeah,
Or excuse me, Abramovich, his
Same
bestie.
thing.
Yeah, same thing. You
I
had the
think
fucking Kremlin.
What's
like.
also interesting,
the
most-
Yo, word cooked.
the most
Yeah.
recognizable club in the bottom
I
right.
can't
So
support them anymore.
right? Bro, we've been way past the moral shit with sports. You can't watch sports if you're trying to you can't watch sports to be honest.
the most recognizable club in this bottom right section is PSV,
Yeah,
which
facts.
is for the people, but also far right. Millwall is also there. Hellas Verona for sure.
What does that mean if you're like?
It means you're like a
Like-
racist poor club.
Yeah, like
That's
people from
without mincing
they're not
words.
poor, but like
But
yeah.
without mincing words, that's what.
Well,
we're
no,
talking
it's
about.
not even that. It's also the fan base being like
Millwall. It's the Millwall.
lower income. Bro,
This
Trump
is
voters.
hilarious. I
Trump
love
voters.
This is like
Lower
this is
income
my
right
type
wing.
of stuff, bro.
Dead ass. Lower income. I'm zooming in because I gotta start
I'm
seeing it.
weak
They got
too.
teams in Shanghai on this thing, bro.
I'm dying at the Seattle Sounders and the Portland Timbers.
Being
So the most
Left.
leftist and elite, because that's like
Elite is
Silicon
funny.
Valley,
exactly.
Not
Yeah.
Silicon. Oh, it's
not
like, yeah.
Silicon Valley,
But
but
like hipster, wealthy,
yeah, Microsoft,
Pacific
bros.
Northwest. Yeah. facts. That's facts.
Fascinating.
Sevilla elitist and to the right is to the left is funny because my dad from Sevilla, who's a Betis fan, always said Betis is more for the people, which is where we see on the elitist poll. But right, he said Sevilla would be further right than Betis. So that's interesting. But I guess sometimes wealth and progressiveness do go together, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because like there's a lot of, if you look at college degrees to left-leaning
Of
votes in
course.
America,
Of course.
huge correlation,
Yep.
which also correlates to income. This is very, bro, it's
I
the
love
the
this.
world sport. And the thing is, you can't really do this the same way in American sports.
Yeah.
You can't really do this with the Knicks, bro, or
Where's
with the
Liverpool?
Lakers. Like,
yeah.
it's just not the same. The deep cultural ties to these teams in these cities, in these communities, is just different. And like,
That's my favorite graphic ever.
yeah, this is great, bro.
All right.
That is that.
All right.
On that note,
Amazing. But it's Black History Month. We got some black-owned clothes and things to shout out. If y'all want to just talk about what you got on.
It's all you, bro.
You want me to start?
please.
Yeah.
All right. I got Daily Paper on the pants, an amazing African Dutch brand. Big shout out to Daily Paper. We will miss you in New York, but we were going to have to go to the London store, go to the Amsterdam store. Maybe they'll open back up in New York City. What I have here, I'm wearing Supervision collab with Saba, Chicago rapper, black-owned brand out of Los Angeles. This has like a young black boy on the front with the Supervision logo, kind of like in the brain. And then on the side, it says Think Different. And on the back has some stuff from Saba's album, A Few Good Things. So like a super dope, creative merch collab. And if you're going to drop an album and do some merch, make it interesting, make it creative. And there's a lot of powerful meaning behind this image that goes along with like the lyrics and the meaning in Saba's music. So I love that. Staying with LA, super fire streetwear brand called Homme Femme, man, woman in French. Also from Los Angeles. This is their racer shirt that I got. Big shout out to them and prayers for everybody in LA, of course. My boy from Minnesota, we got Turbo Market, got the racer anime style tee on this. Super fire stuff out in Minnesota. He got Timberwolves players wearing his stuff, Vikings players wearing his stuff. Staying in the Midwest, Unfinished Legacy out of Milwaukee, actually. Shout out Milwaukee, not too many brands that we know about in Milwaukee.
Thanks.
One of my favorite t-shirts I've ever had. Super crazy butterfly prints on it. I love the meaning of the Unfinished Legacy. And then the butterflies go towards the back too. So some more black-owned brands for you to support in this Black History Month. And then lastly, another one of my favorite t-shirts. I love a good graphic. This is from River is Wild, a brand that's all about diasporic meaning. And so this is actually a Yoruba drummer. Super, super vibey. I wore it to an Afrobeat party, and I just felt the vibes even more. So yeah, man, shout out all the black-owned brands. If you're going to spend this month, spend on black-owned brands, man, for real.
It's a fact.
Yeah, you got some
briefly for me, Turbo Market again on the top. I wore this today because this is probably my most worn hoodie.
Oh, for sure.
From the last 8 months.
You need a good zip, man.
Bro,
you need a good
I
zip.
love this hoodie. It's heavy duty. It's a great product. And then I gotta shout out my boy Jamal.
Our boy.
With the Western Elders cap. This is a Courtier collab. On the back it says "Home is where your people are," which is like my favorite quote ever. So you'll often see me in this hoodie or this hat or both. So
true.
Shout out to them. Fried rice on the pants. Not black owned, but Asian owned. We support minorities all year long.
Absolutely.
Me, full Reebok fit, part owned by Master P, actually.
Hey.
Let's go. He is a hustler, bro. He actually played in the NBA with like his talent. Yes, he played one game in the NBA, I think with the Houston Rockets. Not playing with you right now.
That might be some
That might be a setback.
I'll show you right now. It's
that true?
insane. No, because I'm like, this can't be real, right? It is. All right.
Master P.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. The Toronto Raptors. Yeah, this is him in a game-worn uniform.
All right.
Fascinating.
Black History Month,
Shout out to
right?
Reebok.
He made his NBA debut in 1998 when he tried out for the Toronto Raptors. This is real, bro. Actual Black History. This is real TV footage. Percy Miller, age 29 rookie. Yeah, he actually played in the NBA. Real footage, bro. Vince Carter and all that.
Shout out Master P.
Shout out Master P.
Shout out New Orleans, very black city. Probably the
We didn't even announce we're gonna be there. Yeah.
probably my favorite city in this country, after DC.
Deep cultural ties in New Orleans, bro.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know when this is coming out, but if you're about to be in New Orleans, Gabe and I will be there.
Yeah. If you're in New Orleans, say what's up to us. We'll be Media Row, doing all types of stuff with NFL x La Liga, NFL x Bundesliga. Very, very excited. For sure, for sure.
Cool.
Absolutely. Episode 77. Peace.
Deuces.
Happy Black History Month. Love y'all.
Bye.